Okay, are we ready?
Yeah. Always.
As we'll ever be. Right.
Are we going to get any more ready by waiting?
Probably not.
Let's give it another minute or two. I feel I'm not quite ready enough.
No, you may not play with the Sharpulator for another minute.
I'll watch you later.
The Sharpulator. Patent pending.
Right, okay.
You've been busy, haven't you? You've just not been keeping abreast of things, have you?
Yeah, we need to get on, or Mr. Whitaker's going to blow a gasket.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I just
Tell me later.
Yeah, no, it'll come up. I just want to know why on earth the Sharpulator gets a PDF and the Calculator is
Can't say Calculator anymore.
Yeah, you can say Calculator because Calculator's official. It's officially the Calculator, but the Calculator is stuck on a forum post. Why can't the Calculator get a PDF? Freedom for the Calculator.
Somebody remind Clarky, and I'm sure he'll get round to it.
I don't know. Charlie Command It's So 2 years ago gets no love anymore.
Does too?
And they changed all the rules for the AVRE, Dave.
Oh, can we start?
Yeah. Sorry. Right, okay. So.
Yeah, go, Mike. That's how it's done.
Right. In 3, 2, 1, go. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is sponsored by Two Fat Lardies and also by the generous donations of you, the listener. Many thanks to Marcus Wheeler, Glenn Oberhauser, Tom Pivatera, David Chikowsin, Alex McIntosh, Tobias Whiting, and Elliot Woodruff. Guys, thank you for your generous donations. You help make this show possible. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast, episode 171. Rage at the Royal Armouries. With hosts Neil Shuck, Mike Hobbs, Mike Whitaker, and Dave Luff. This show was actually recorded around about the first couple of weeks in May, but unfortunately, due to a couple of other factors, it's actually taken quite some time to get the show edited, put together. Many apologies for the delay. I hope you enjoy this show. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. I'm Neil Shuck, and once again I'm joined by my fellow podcasters in crime. We have the Welsh wizard himself, Mr. Michael Hobbs.
Hello.
Hello. And then we have Mike Whitaker.
How do? Don't I get a name this week?
Do you get? I don't know. You complained so much at the last one. I just didn't know what to do, mate.
Fair enough.
And finally, we have Captain Sensible himself, Mr. Dave Luff.
Captain Sensible.
Suddenly, I have a mental image of Mr. Love in a beret with a striped shirt singing Happy Talk, and I'm very, very scared.
It was a good hit. He lived off that for years, he did.
We do, Neil.
Yes?
We do need to start with a very important announcement, you know.
Okay, what's that then?
HM Government Health Warning. This podcast may seriously damage your wealth.
Yes, indeed. We seem to be...
I'm all right. I'm here to offset that, so we'll be all right. A few sensible words.
Yes, Dave is the voice of reason. We're not.
We're not.
Yeah, no, by the sound of it, are most of our listeners.
No,
it appears we have been getting complaints over the impact we've been having on certain people's bank balance, or at least credit card.
Can't be held responsible for that, can we?
No.
Well, apparently, apparently we can.
Who's complaining? Is it? Are we getting complaints from gamers? Are we getting complaints from gamers' wives or significant others? Because if that starts to happen, then we need to start getting worried, don't we? But if it's just self-inflicted, then it's not a problem.
Let's not incriminate the people on air. Just to say, there have been Twitter feed conversations, and what's the phrase? Oh, welcome to the club.
We would also like to make it very, very clear that we don't get commission yet. Hint, hint.
I like the yet. It's indeed. No, we don't.
But if anybody feels like giving us commission, it'll help offset all those horrible expenses like buying Neil a new computer still.
Oh, yeah, it's, it's still going, just about. I mean,
you fed the mice this week, have you?
I've upgraded it. I'm onto hamsters and gerbils now.
Well, what you get into in your spare time's up to you, Neil.
Yeah. Yeah, it's slowing down, so it needs more power, that's the thing. So yes, so here we all are. Well, what have we got lined up for you on this show? We have something a little bit different, in the fact of of course, with their permission, we recorded a seminar session that was given by David Marshal and Alan and Michael Perry at the Royal Armouries gaming event a couple of weeks ago. They gave a seminar on how they created the Agincourt diorama, and they very kindly allowed us to record it because we thought, this will be interesting and it'll be something that people might want to hear. So we've got that coming up in a bit.
Which is good, because I missed it.
Yeah, because you were gaming, weren't you?
I was running a game.
You were running a game. So yes, for all those who couldn't make it to Leeds, it is the keynote seminar of the day, from David Marshal and the Perry twins. So that's coming up. We also get to have a brief chat with Kirsty again. And then other than that, it's probably going to end up being a slightly, here's hoping, it's probably end up going to be a slightly shorter show, because that's about an hour or so. And then we've got the hobby news, we can talk about what we've been up to, and then we're going to have a delve in the mailbag. So that's what
However, since it's taken us 25 minutes to get to the point of actually hitting record, I'm not holding out any hope for us being short.
It is true. We do have, previous.
Brummy's getting stick again.
Indeed. Truthful observations are being made. However, on that note, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be finding out what we've been up to in the last couple of weeks.
The eagles have gone. Britain lies defenseless in a cruel world. Since the birth of our Lord, it has been 456 years. What sins have we committed to bring this punishment to Britain? I speak, of course, of the Saxons. They came as allies, but now they seek conquest. The lands of the Britons lie ravaged before them. Blood runs red in our island. We need a leader to stand against them. We need a man to bring together the Britons in common cause. We seek a Dux Britanniarum.
Right, that's enough of that. Dux Britanniarum from two fat lardies. They really are very good.
What have we been playing? What have we been buying? We might even have painted something. The Meeples and Miniatures crew reveal all. We're at the part of the show where we talk about what we've been up to, and it's actually been a while, considering the last show was Salute, and we didn't really get much chance to chat about what we've been up to because we were talking about, well, kind of having a show debrief and various other bits and pieces. So we got several weeks worth of stuff to catch up with. So who wants to start?
It's got to be Dave because I'll be nice and quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me? Why, mate? Oh, go on then. Nice and quick. That's a bit harsh, that is.
That's very harsh.
What have I been doing now? I mean, I haven't done very much. I haven't painted anything, have I? That is for sure, since the Glider episode, and I'm still getting stick from that, even at Leeds.
Houses?
Oh, no houses, no nothing.
You haven't painted anything? You haven't
stick
painted
at Leeds, didn't I?
Oh, you did get stick at Leeds.
I just, it's like that. The amount of people in the last 3 months have come up to me and commented about that damn Glider. You know, the Glider's done, is it, Dave? Yeah. Who are you? I've never even met you in my life.
Welcome to the world of podcasting, Dave. You're now a celebrity.
Yeah, celebrity at not getting Gliders finished. But yeah, I mean, I suppose the main highlight was actually nipping up to Leeds, wasn't it? Really, that's that was the main highlight for me this year. This month, hobby wise, we had rediscussed the 6mm sharp practice, haven't we? Again, and you've sort of explained to me the virtues and the angle you were coming from, and I've decided to give it a go. And we've invested in some bases, haven't we?
We have. Yes.
Yeah,
yes. Mr. Luff has come over to the dark side.
Yeah, the other two have just looked silence from Mr. Whitaker and Mr. Hobbs. Just nothing. It's just going to be silence now.
I'm sure you'll have a great game.
I'm sure you will.
The reason being we decided it was because we've got all the figures and we've got the cock stuff going on at the moment. I'm supposed to be saying that, am I?
No, sorry, it's Command.
This month, Coca-Cola Command, right? Anyway, so we're doing that, and
other World War II beverages are available.
That's right. And we were going to get bogged down, weren't we, if we started anything too big? But we want to play a bit of sharp practice too. So we thought, well, we've got the figures. We can sort of 6mm stuff up. We've got everything to go. Just paint a few figures up, and we're ready to go pretty quickly before we actually take on probably another big project sometime next year, eh, mate?
So, sometime next year?
Oh, you're coming forward. I'll tell you what. There's no stopping him now, lads, on the painting. He's just there's no stopping him. He's a machine. I
don't know. There is one way stopping me. That's getting me to write several thousand words for other things. It stops me dead in my tracks.
So anyway, apart from that, I mean, that's where
you're not behind with Mr. Hyde again, are you?
I may be.
But Dave, there is one other thing that you did, which should be one of your main, big things for this last couple of weeks.
Go on then. What's that? Go on.
You blew the living daylights out of Neil's panther, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I did. I did forget about that. Yeah, that was a good few weeks ago now. That was all your fault, apparently, Mr. Hobbs. You got blamed for that.
I'm quite happy with that. 29 minutes, well done, mate.
Yeah, I wasn't. That was with a rules discussion.
That was with a rules discussion in the middle of it. That has to be said. That was funny, especially with the fact of, obviously, on the Last Book One podcast, there had been some discussion, and then there had been some post-podcast discussion. How did it go, Mr. Hobbs? You kind of encouraged Mr. Luff?
I just, I like to get people to, play the tactics, and if somebody's foolish enough to send a tank up a bocage
without infantry
support in the night after he's seen a half track go up, well,
There really is no alternative but you stick your head over the bocage with a pier and shoot it up the backside.
Yeah, twice in this case.
That wasn't the backside. It was in the side. I mean, it was
cars.
Yeah, it was really. I mean, it was funny. It was really funny. As I say, I mean, I had set a stopwatch for 30 minutes, and I even text Mike to say, "Oh, 30 minutes has started." I got this bemused reply about 15 minutes later, going, "What? What?" Well, it's like the first thing Dave does is roll consecutive phases. I was like, oh.
Well, that was the given. I was thinking, well, you got to roll your bones first, see what you get. If I do roll 2 6s, I'm definitely gonna have a pop. But I was thinking about having a pop at the. What did you have at the crossroads? What else did you have? One of your armoured cars.
Yeah, there was a 2 3 4 at the crossroads as well.
Yeah, I was thinking of having a pop at that, but when I rolled the double 6, when I rolled the double 6s for consecutive turns, and then with Mr. Hobbs' encouragement on the past podcast, I was like, I've got to have a go.
Yeah,
good man.
So he goes and rolls boxcars to hit, which is obviously a critical hit,
and straight up the exhaust.
3 extra dice, isn't it?
Pardon?
3 extra dice.
3 extra dice.
Oh yeah.
But so that was 10 versus 11. That was 10 dice versus 11. I mean, the Panther's armor, it's still got 11 dice armor. It's fairly hefty.
Yeah, big tank.
Yeah, but
game
on the side, it's not quite so nice because your target number just got better.
That's right. 4, 5, and 6 to hit.
So anyway, it ended up with a mere 2 hits out of the first one. But it was enough to kill the driver, which was a bit of a pain. So I couldn't. So at that point, it was like, okay, I can't get out of there. And then he has turn 2, phase 2, and hits it again with his last Piat shot.
Boom,
boom. Now he's down to 7 dice. He said, oh yeah, 7 dice. Okay, 4 fights is 7 dice. So he gets 4 hits. Thinking, 4 hits. Okay,
got 11 dice.
I've got 11. I've got 11 dice. I'll be fine. I've got 11 dice. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Not a single save.
Ooh, because statistically, you should save 3 or 4.
Exactly. Statistically, I should roll 3 or 4, 5s or 6s.
Yeah, but this is Neil's statistics.
Yeah, in fact, 7 against 11 should be pretty close to a tie.
But you're talking about mathematical statistics, Mike. You're not actually talking about Shuck statistics.
This is true. I'm not.
Yeah.
It appears to be a distant relative of my statistics, given some of my dice rolling this week.
Oh, so yes. Yes, so the Panther went, boom.
And at that point, then he told me, it's only got a wooden barrel. It's not a real one. It was one of those command jobbies.
It was a command tank.
We're running out of metal, lads. Let's stick a wooden barrel on the front.
But of course, it was a command tank, so it contained my senior leader, and of course, it was a tank, so it was like 2 command rolls.
So let's watch the force morale dribble slowly through the floor.
What do we slowly? I lost 3 points of force morale on that one. That wasn't nice.
Nice one, Lovey.
And it was all downhill from there. Although we subsequently found, I have subsequently discovered that we subsequently played stuff wrong.
Yeah.
I know I'm interjecting here, but of course it was a game that we played between the two of us, and obviously was going, so where's your infantry support? So what happened? I brought all my infantry support up. Okay, so I've got infantry support running, walking alongside half tracks, and then you've got Paras nipping out the bocage and throwing gammon bombs and Hawkins anti-tank grenades at my half tracks. And, it was a great one. I actually used an interrupt with an MG42 because the power popped up right in front of the half track. MG42, 8 dice, missed.
So typical game then.
A typical game then, yeah, but apparently, what people reckon so far is the fact that actually, because I got infantry within 4 inches of the half track or the vehicle that was being attacked, as soon as the guy runs up to try and place anti-tank mine, he should actually enter into close combat with the accompanying infantry.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense because otherwise, what is the point of having infantry sat next to an armoured vehicle? Because they can't do anything.
I think you just have to start the campaign again.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. But I mean, having said all that, it was a fun game.
It was
a fun game.
It was quite fun. With Paras running all over the shop.
It was quite funny. Pat was running all over the shop with anti-tank grenades. Things. Explosions going off left, right, and centre, and right. the final shot down the lane of this solitary 250 hard track disappearing off into the distance.
That's right.
Just this bodies and flaming wreckage in its wake. You have to laugh, don't you? Otherwise I'll be crying. Anyway, yes, so that was fun. Is that about it then? It's about. I think that's about all.
So we might as well carry on with you. To be honest, I've done mine. Mine's melted into yours.
And to be honest, I'm kind of in the same boat. As I say, we kind of made the decision to do 6mm World War II, 6mm World War II, 40 slip, 6mm shot practice. That's the one. Just, as I say, at the end of the day, it's a case of, well, we got the figures, let's get something on the table. I still haven't found my Galloping Major figures, which is beginning to annoy me now. Because rather interesting. I mean, I've been writing about different scales and use of different scales and stuff for Next Miniature Wargames mag. And, a couple of guys, including Mr. Clark, have said, and actually I quite agree, the whole thing of, well, given that Sharp Practice is a character-driven game, you should have decent characters, and Clarky.
So it's all right when Clarky says it, but when I say it, you ignore me.
No. That's not what you said. You said.
Is what I said.
No, it wasn't. You were saying you were saying.
It was one of the many things I said, but I think you turned off when you realised I was disagreeing with you.
And here we go again.
However, as you wish, carry on.
No. Yes. No, you were talking. You were talking about
seriously. Carry on. Let me stop you. Carry on.
You were talking about how could you possibly, miss out on painting the uniforms, and you're talking to me, I mean, we have got to give a shout out to Mr. Ibbotson, haven't we?
Yes, because he plays Sharp Practice in the correct scale.
In the correct scale, but flip. He tweeted some of the stuff that he's painted, and his French dragoons. Oh my word! Oh, they are so nice. Which is my case in point. It's like
nice, aren't they?
They were absolutely gorgeous. I mean, he's also superb painter, but his French dragoons were just something else. Really something else. I can't paint 28mm like that. Flipping heck. Anyway, so I do actually agree with the fact that the issue with the fact it's character driven, and therefore, the one thing, especially in 28mm, is that it aids you in having characterful figures, and it's quite easy to get hold of damsels in distress and various other bits and pieces. So, I am there. I do appreciate that. And me and Mr. Luff have been going backwards and forwards about.
Listeners may imagine me nodding.
Yeah.
A lot.
Me and Mr. Luff have been going backwards and forwards about whether we do French India War in 15mm or 28. And Blue Moon look really nice, don't they, Dave?
Yeah, they definitely do.
Yeah.
And they've got virtually everything that we need, haven't we? It's just going to be a one-stop shop.
But I really do like Galloping Major stuff. And yeah.
It's not the only reason why we're thinking of 15.
If only you could find it.
If only I could find. Yeah. I found we must get some tomahawk rules the other night. Which I thought was quite interesting, because at least it gives another take on French India War, and a bit of a different thing on extra bits of scenarios and various other bits and pieces. So I was quite pleased I found that the other night, and quite interesting.
We're thinking of 15s, aren't we? Because of the scenery, aren't we? That we've already got.
We are.
That's the other reason.
We are. I'm torn. And then, of course, then we were chatting with Pete Berry at Salute, and Pete turns around and says, "Oh, I'm doing French India War with 6 mil," and we looked at each other.
Don't tell Hobbsy and Mr. Whitaker; they'll go up the wall with us.
It's your game. You do exactly what you want to do.
Oh, look! They're like your mother when you were 6. Now, look, I'm just disappointed in you. That's all.
So it's, as I say, at the end of the day, it's 6 mil is just going to get us going. And so we can actually get it onto the table.
It's certainly got me and Hobbsy going.
Oh.
Yep.
What's the phrase? No shit, Sherlock.
It wasn't so much the 6 mil, Mike. It was more the fact that he was trying to do 6 mil figures on 28 mil basing. You know, that was my biggest gripe.
For a set of rules which are based on characters.
Yeah, big characters, big characters. I mean, you could do your characters in 28 mil and do all of the troops in 6 mil.
Well, yeah, it's certainly better than the idea of, well, he must be the leader. He's got a different coloured pointy bit on his blob.
Yeah, he's got a different flag.
Okay, so we're doing sharp practice meets kaiju, are we?
Yeah.
It's the point being that you seem to have gone from group of men taking a flag to walk to group of grains of rye taking a flake of dandruff for a walk.
Oh, there'll be no flags. No flags.
Oh no! Don't get Mr. Luff started on flags, please. Just step away from that.
Moving swiftly on. What else have you been up to now?
Well, so said 6. So I've actually found out. I've got a 6 mil army. Oh, it's actually sat in front of me. It's even on painting sticks. It's even undercoated.
Careful! Don't sneeze. You'll lose it.
They're not that small.
About 6 mil. Yeah, no.
But that's as far as I've got. It's been most disappointing. And painting's quite, so despite the fact I even promised on the book, I'm going to copy what
Rip off my idea.
I'm going to copy Mike's idea. Yes, commonly called as plagiarism. I'm going to copy Mike's idea and do my painting table and my painting table. I thought, okay, because at the very least, if I'm doing this, it means that I'm going to have to do something each week just to keep me going. And within 2 weeks, it's like, no, I'm not doing anything this week.
Well, what you have to do, you have to take the photograph every week. You can't use the same photograph and say, well, nothing's changed. You know, because you've got to see that slow accumulation of dust.
Oh, you spotted that this week, did you? I recognise those Panzer IVs. Obviously, we went to the Royal Armouries, more of which we'll find out when Mr. Whitaker talks about things. Other than to say, the Agincourt diorama, very, very nice, but we'll hear more about that later. But it's really, really good. And I've ordered some more stuff. Mr. Luff.
Yes.
Yes, you know, because it's Market Lard. As we record this, it's Market Lard in a month. Okay.
Yeah, we've got some stuff to do, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because all of a sudden, about a couple of weeks ago, I had a quick chat with Dave and kind of went, "I'm really not happy with this scenario that I said we were going to do. Let's do this one."
I said that months ago.
Anyway, for those of you who've got Battle Group Overlord, so Hobbsy, you'll know which one it is. There is a scenario in Battle Group Overlord which has got 6th Airborne Division attacking. It's set on the 12th of June, and it's the attack of the 6th Airborne. It's the last action the 6th Airborne Division were involved in before they were pulled out of the fighting. And we said, let's do that instead, because that looks more fun, and plus the fact it looks a more interesting table, and the table's put together better than what we've seen with the other thing, and plus the fact there's more forces on the table. Each person gets to command a platoon of infantry plus support. So it'll hopefully be more fun because everybody's got more toys to play with. Unfortunately, that also means that I've got a second German platoon to paint.
Do you want to learn my
No.
You can borrow Hobbs again.
No.
It ain't going to happen.
No, stop. No. To be fair, I actually sat down. To be fair, I sat down and worked it all out. And actually reckon that because I've kind of painted 4+ squads anyway, with extra NCOs and extra ammunition carriers and stuff, I probably actually only need a couple of packs from Peter Pig. So that's like 16 infantry. I think it's only 16 infantry. Surely.
Do you notice Neil's a bit like a smoker that says I only smoke 10 a day?
Yeah.
Like Nathan, Neil's just the same, isn't he? It's just like, I've only got to paint 32 figures up and I'd be there.
If you got that much on the table, will you be able to finish it in 3 hours? Or 2 hours? Which is about how much time you're going to have, because you're going to run the game twice, aren't you?
That's a point that I made.
What, 2 platoons? Because we're playing big cop.
Yeah, but you're going to probably have people who haven't played before, not up to the rules.
Well, that's why I'm umpiring it.
Okay. As long as you think you can play it twice in a day. Because we're not going to wait for you before we got the curry house. we will leave you there.
I've got 16 infantry to paint, and I've got to build and paint another Marder 3. But it also does mean that potentially, unless he borrows them off a Deacon, Dave's got to paint 3 Shermans. And have you just about got enough infantry for your side?
Probably a bit like you, just about enough to scrape together, to be honest.
We'll probably lend you some Shermans, Dave.
Yeah. Dave, I've got some powers, but they're on multi-bases, if that's all right. Very nice multi-bases. They're all sort of urbanised. They look lovely, and
next you'll be telling me you base your vehicles.
Yeah.
On
nice urban bases, they've got walls and everything around them. Oh, they look fantastic.
Yeah, it's a shame they're fighting in the middle of a field. So yes, Market Lard 4 is fast approaching, and we're still at the point where we're kind of going, let's do this.
Well, let's face it, let's be fair here. It's not we, it's you. Because I've been saying for months, we've got to play this through a couple of times. We need to play this through a couple of times. We need to decide what we're doing.
Yeah, well, basically between now and then, that's what we're going to be doing, because I think we're going to have to put our campaign on hold, and we're going to have to.
And Mr. Shuck, inevitably, as always, lads, has been going, don't worry, Dave, got plenty of time, ages away, yeah, June, ages away. Oh no, June next month.
Oh crap, still got a deadline for Henry.
That's me done.
Yeah, kick the brummy.
Hobbsy!
Yes, what have I been up to? I've been playing lots and lots of sharp practice too.
Not in 6mm, I presume.
Oh no, in God's own scale of 28mm, mate. Lots of War of 1812 sharp practice has been played. That fort is getting an awful lot of use.
I was going to say, that fort has never known so many assaults in all its life.
No, that is true. Although the last game we played, we did actually use the fort as a defensive position and not actually everybody fight outside the fort and leave it completely empty, which was nice.
You still haven't got any figures of people desperately trying to see over some very large logs then?
No, there was one on my last blog post.
There was?
Yeah. I bought some firing steps, but I'll come to what I bought later. Lots of playing of that. And again, that's all going to feed into Market Larden, because it's going to be the basis of the scenario I'm going to play there, and probably one of the scenarios that's going to work its way into the book as well. So that's all been good. We've been playing Freejumper.
Shall we leave that to the hobby use?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I've been playing it. But that's what I've been doing playing-wise. Painting, usual stuff. I did have a little bit of I got bored of painting 1812 stuff. So I painted some Dystopian Wars ships, which I've had floating around.
Yes, those Prussian things, they look rather nice.
Yeah, they're lovely.
Yeah, you did a good job with them.
Yes. So I've done a mule train. from Warlord, which is lovely. A lot more 1812 stuff is always ongoing. I picked up some of Annie's, or Bad Squirrel Games' Ogres, the ones she had at Salute. So
the Secret Project ones, yeah?
Yeah, the Secret Project.
Yeah.
And then I got distracted. It was all going so well.
It was all, yes.
Yes.
And I found this box in my cupboard with some Great Northern War figures from Footsore, which is Bill Thornhill's company over in America and over here as well. And I just thought, Great Northern War. That'd be nice for sharp practice. Well,
it passes the acid test. It contains horses and muskets.
It does contain horses and muskets, and there's also pikes in it as well, which is great fun.
They're a bit dangerous.
Yeah, especially as we need to work out some rules for using pikes in sharp practice, because he ain't in there. Because of course it's the last real war that actually used pikes, and it's 1708 and 1709, so it kind of squeaks in. And well, I may have got some more figures coming from Bill.
Just the odd one or two.
Sigh.
Well, in my defense, me and Bill go way back. Bill used to live about 2 or 3 miles from my house, and he was a huge influence on my wargaming. And we were really, really good friends, and he got me, introduced me to Grip and Beast and everybody else. And when he was starting off what was Musketeer Miniatures, I built his website for him from scratch and didn't charge him because he was a mate. And he's always said, I'll sort you out with some figures. And I never really took anything off him. And then I sort of put down that I found these figures, and he came back and went, "Do you want some more?" Yeah. So I sent him a list, and we agreed how much I pay for them.
He is, in truth, your dealer, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of them. Only one of them. Yeah.
We did a deal, and yes, they're on the way. And I think he's also going to chuck in some stuff that hasn't been released yet. So so Great Northern War is go.
Right, so explain that. That's between Newcastle and Sunderland, isn't it?
Oh, it's a little bit northern than that.
Oh, okay. Because I said, yes, I called it the Great North War, didn't I?
Oh, the Great North War, yeah.
The Great North War. Went, no, it was like, what?
It's Peter the Great. So, Russia versus Sweden. Plus the danger involved, and a bit of Finland, and it puts everybody. But it's a very pretty war. Which is probably the worst thing you could ever say. But
provided you play it in a scale where you can actually see the uniforms.
No. You cannot say that. If you have ever seen the Great North War games that Pear puts on at Joy of 6, you cannot say, it isn't pretty in 6mm. Because he's done some stunning ones, and stunning is the right word. They are absolutely gorgeous.
He's doing mass battle.
Yes, which is the perfect scale for 6mm. Let's not go back down this rabbit hole.
Moving swiftly on.
Yeah, so that buying things. I bought some fences and fields from a guy called Treefellow1 on eBay, which are gorgeous, absolutely pigging gorgeous. So we shall post links to that. He does some nice stuff. I got some resin bits from Annie, from Fenris. And
makes a change from buying stuff from Last Valley, I suppose.
Yeah, well, Last Valley doesn't sell direct during the summer. But no, this tree fella guy, brilliant.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I bought some Perry's French Infantry.
Oh, sorry?
I bought a box of Perry's French Infantry.
What? Oh, the plastic box?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not the you didn't go for the retreat from Moscow like we were talking about last time.
No. I've definitely parked that idea.
Because you got distracted with Great North War.
Yeah.
Great Northern War. Sorry, Great Northern War. Yeah.
So, but before that, I thought I could just do Peninsula as well because I got the Brits. So I got a box of French Infantry. And, it's there. They'll get used eventually. Yeah,
but you need 2 boxes because that only contains 6 voltage air.
Yeah, I've also got half a box of Vitrix French.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What else have I done? Oh, I pre-ordered the Achtung Cthulhu starter set.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about that in the hobby news. Oh,
Yeah.
That looks good. Oh, that looks good.
And that's it. That's all I've done. Honest. Nothing else.
All right, so
Nothing else has been bought. Honest.
so basically, what Mr. Whitaker did at Salute, you done post Salute. You just made up for it afterwards.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I can just hear Dave in the background. I can hear his head shaking from here.
Yeah.
No. I muted my mic, so you can't.
I don't think he was saying he was hearing it over Skype, mate.
In 1 month, I probably bought what Dave buys in 5 years.
You're not far wrong.
Dude,
Probably not.
Yeah. Your turn, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Suppose
Come back
so.
and say
Went to Leeds. Leeds was fun. Spent the previous couple of days sticking an awful lot of Britons and DSG, etc. figures on 50mm round bases and painting them a matching green, just to make everything look the same. Spray painting some Timpo tints, which is probably heresy if you're a toy soldier collector.
Yeah, we saw that.
Oh,
Well, they look good.
We were going to take you to the samurai armor section and skewer you. Me and Neil were thinking about it.
Oh, thanks, mate.
As
punishment.
Heinous crime. Oh.
Yes, correct. Let's face it, they're only Timpo. They're only 5 for 2. They are 2 or 5 on eBay, and there's still loads left, so I wasn't feeling that bad about it. Andy Miller and I knocked together
what's wrong with having a baby blue tent, anyway? Or yellow one. Yellow and red.
Mr. Miller and I knocked together a foot-high castle in foamboard in about 2 hours flat, which is quite fun. The bombard, as promised, was 3 bits of balsa and 4 cotton reels.
Yeah, you didn't draw the cotton reel out, did you?
No.
No, I didn't notice that. You said you were going to draw the cotton reel out. No,
I said
you didn't.
we'd give it some thought.
A multi-firing bombard.
Given it was at that point 10 o'clock on the Friday night, we gave it a miss.
That was the bombard equivalent of a volley gun, that was.
Yeah, that is indeed. It's the bombard equivalent of Harper's knock volley gun. And a good time was had by all. We had a bunch of folks come and play the game, predominantly victories for the English. But I have to say, the thing that tickled me, thinking about it in retrospect, is given that some of those Britain's figures were probably from people's toy soldier collection who are my age, we were sitting there playing a 40-year-old set of rules with probably some 40-year-old figures.
Retro wargaming, it's the way
Seriously,
to go forward.
retro.
It's the new
And I
thing.
have to say that, now admittedly we tweaked the rules very, very slightly, but they're a really nice set of rules. The only 2 things we did were we got rid of written orders because it doesn't really work in a demonstration game setting. So we went for the there's a very obvious divide into 3 units on each side. So we did chip-based activation, a la Two Fat Lardy's bolt action.
Written orders, that's proper old school.
That's
that is.
seriously old school. And since at that point we also don't have written damage, we made use of a whole bunch of chips and mini dice just to keep track on hits and things. But it went really well. And I have to say, if anybody is after a set of large-scale skirmish rules, but as in large-scale, as in small number of figures, then the Dom Featherson set in skirmish wargaming do stand the test of time. While I was there, I had a look at Perry's Agincourt model, which very, very nice. But I'm going to commit a small heresy here.
Go on.
In that I have an abiding love for the story of Captain William Syborn, as I think I mentioned when we were talking to Kirsty. I actually got to go and have a proper look at his small Waterloo model.
Yes.
And for all that, yes, the Perry's Agincourt model is lovely, there is so much more history wrapped up in that Waterloo model. Just the whole story of how it came to be and so on and so forth. And I really did enjoy having a look at that.
Yeah, I haven't looked at that since it's been redone up. I'm having a second look, 'cause I think I was quite young probably the first time I saw it. I was surprised actually on the quality of the figures that were actually used.
When you think it's what, 1850?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
It's quite surprisingly good quality, and they've renovated it recently, and it's lovely. It is, and as I said, there's so much story and history tied up in it.
I mean, the interesting thing is the difference in the pigments. Obviously, the pigments are going now because the paint is so old and the technology wasn't there where with modern.
And as a result, it is kept in a quite dark environment. I think, fading any further, but still, it's a thing of history, and I say I almost enjoyed looking at that more than I did looking at the Agincourt model, knowing some of the story behind it.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw it, I think my biggest memory is it was absolutely knee deep in dust.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So that was the Royal Armouries. Had a very nice curry on the Saturday night with Kirsty and her dad, and one of the guys from, I think, one of the Sheffield clubs. Sorry if I've misremembered that, if you're listening. Did have someone wander by the table on Sunday who had a whole pile of Britain's Agincourt era stuff to get rid of, who was supposed to be getting in touch with Ruben about selling me quite a bit of stuff for not very much, for a reasonable amount of money, but I haven't heard anything back yet. I did also score some Italieri 54s on eBay while I was at the show. So I think quite a few folks who were up from the club, we had Ruben up on the Saturday and Rob and Dan up on the Sunday, were once you've played it through a couple of times and just got over the culture shock of, wow, D100s and a big combat results table, it's really very, very fast play. There's only about half a dozen mods in combat, and all you're doing in combat is just making a roll and looking up on the table, target number versus what kind of wound you're doing. It's just one roll, and you get very quick after a while. It is a very, very nice little set of rules. So that was quite fun. Other than the Royal Armouries, what have we done? I've done a bit of horse trading with, not literally horse trading, but figure trading with Graham from the club, who wants all the archers out of a box of Romano Brits, whereas I want all the spear-armed figures out of a box of Romano Brits. So I have, I think, now got a Dux Brit Romano Brit force, so I don't have to rely on Andy Horses to run demo games, which would be quite useful for Operation OML4, assuming I can get them painted, which is looking likely. Other than that, what else have we done? Looked longingly at an awful lot of Perry's French and Resisted Temptation for now. That was hard, trust me. And placed...
Well, why was it you just bought all the English?
Because my bonus hasn't come through yet. And I thought I'd wait till it had, as this decreases the amount of shock on the credit card and thus wife grumbling. Other than that, I have placed a very large war bases order for all the things I forgot at Salute, including the horses for the wagons. Yes.
Good. And bases to put the horses on?
And no, I have enough spare for those. Besides, you just sent me a bunch of pill bases.
That is true.
That is true. So, ordered a bunch more movement trays. Also, played my first ever game of Kings of War this Monday.
Oh, right, okay.
That's an interesting set of rules. How can I describe it? We did actually talk to Jake about it way back, didn't we? Well, I think that was Kings of War 1.
No, we've never discussed Kings of War. We've never discussed Kings of War.
Potted review, and we'll save the rest for an upcoming item.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably your other podcast that you do.
What, the one I do with Hobbsy that we haven't told you about?
Yeah. Yeah,
Don't mention that.
Told you they were moonlighting, Mr. Shuck.
Basically, you have to discard a bunch of preconceptions about just about every other mass combat game, of which the two that are quite interesting are, in your turn, you do all the dice rolling. So you roll to attack, you then roll to wound, and you then basically roll the nerve test for your opponent's unit. Your opponent's roll is entirely limited to telling you what his unit's defense and his nerve are. This is a deliberate design decision, not least in part because it means that the amount of time a move takes is entirely down to you, and it allows for tournament play using chess clocks, which is quite cute. And the other thing is that in melee combat, you attack, you're the only person who rolls attacks. So if you get the charge in, your attacks count. Your attacks happen. They count against the opponent's damage and modify his nerve test. And if he survives, he gets to fight back in the next when it's his turn, which is completely different to just about every other Warhammer-style mass battle melee, where the only thing that does change is who goes first based on initiative, weapon length, etc., etc., etc.
It's very similar to a mechanic that they use in Deus Vault. I'm disliking them already.
It's a perception adjustment. Once you have, if you're prepared to accept that as an approach, it does actually work. It was great fun, and despite some abysmal dice, which are causing me to remove the ballista from my army straight away as being completely useless, I won. So that was quite fun.
Hang on, so you're removing the ballista from your army simply because you can't roll dice?
Yeah, absolutely. Even with decent
after
dice,
one attempt,
they only hit on a 5, and okay, so I was slightly statistically under the likelihood of hitting, but they only hit on a 5 and they do rubbish damage anyway, and they're not worth the points, fundamentally.
Right, okay.
And with the points I save, I can have another horde of knights. And they're painful, especially if you're on the receiving end.
I don't know, these power gamers.
There you go, Neil. Knights. You know what you can do with them, can't you?
Charge!
Yeah, that too.
Have you seen my dice bag?
Yeah, you need quite a few. Let's see. So
Thank you, Matt.
That.
I'll be tweeting another picture of it as soon as it arrives.
It looked very nice.
I was taken aback because I was just, he said, "Oh, we can do your logo." Really? Ooh. And then he flummoxed me by saying, "What do you want on it?" And it was like, "Oh, I don't know."
I did like the hashtag charge at the bottom.
Well, that was inevitable. I mean, someone suggested calling me the Green Charger at some point, didn't they, on Twitter? But didn't quite take off.
There's so much he could have put. He kept it clean.
I don't think I've seen this.
Don't worry.
Because you're not on Facebook, Hobbsy.
Don't worry, mate. As soon as it arrives, it's winging its way to me at this point, at this very moment. As soon as it arrives, I will take a photo and post it because I want to post the inside as well because his good lady has done a complete custom job. Because you can do different threads for the outside, and then they can have different colour inners, and loads and loads of different ways.
Definitely for the wargamer that has everything.
Yeah, possibly.
Very nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I need somewhere to put my chits. Anyway, coming soon.
Mine got christened at the Royal Armouries. As a chit repository for activation chits.
And you wouldn't even play Sharp Practice. Oh, the horror.
But for activation chits, read War Bases 50mm bases with bits written on them in Sharpie.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
Going with the 1970s look. I know.
Absolutely. And I have done one other thing, which is I have released version 1 of the unofficial Two Fat Lardies Army List directory.
The what now?
The unofficial Lardies Army List directory. Basically, it's an attempt to keep track of where all the blooming army lists for Chain of Command and Sharp Practice are. So if you want to know where things are, you go there and you look up Chain of Command and then the theatre you're interested in, and hopefully you'll find links to the lists.
Instead of hunting through the forum and everything.
That's the one. So all the official lists are up. All the approved lists are up, barring the Chain of Command Espana stuff, because I just haven't had time to do that, because there are quite a few lists. I've had about half a dozen submissions already from folks with various lists for things like 1942-43 US Marines, and I've got a whole bunch of lists that appear to be popping up on Facebook in various places, which I will try and keep up to date with as they appear. And I've got to troll the forums for a few things. I know there's a couple of lists that happened on the Yahoo group, including 1940 Fallschirmjäger and Luftwaffe. So basically the attempt is to try and keep that no more than a week behind people publishing lists and stuff. And there is a form that allows you to submit your list and say, here's a link to my list. You may wish to add it to the directory.
And where would somebody find this list?
Currently, it's at wordpress.altrion.org/lardy-lists. But it will probably move to a more sensible domain name once I'm happy with it. I might ask Rich if he's willing to give me list.twofatlardies.co.uk or something. But for now, it's there. I'll make sure Neil has a link for the show notes.
Indeed.
As it does appear to be quite a popular idea.
You have to get on to Derek's Lard Central as well.
Yes, I think Derek may already have got it there, but if not, I'll make sure he gets the new posts feed so he can see every time new lists get added. I think I'm basically going to have to set aside 15 minutes every day or every couple of days to just trawl through the forums and look for new stuff.
Cool.
But anyway, that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Except you have missed out one thing.
What have I missed out, Neil?
The negotiation you had to complete.
Oh, that negotiation! Yes. So, as people who have been following my blog may be aware, we booked a couple of weeks' holiday in Williamsburg, Virginia, in the middle 2 weeks the first 2 full weeks in July. Imagine my surprise, and this is not a surprise either, honest.
Yeah.
To discover that coincides, the last week of that coincides with the first couple of days of Historicon.
What are the odds, eh? What are the odds?
What are the odds? Actually, quite surprisingly, and as I said in my blog post, nobody's going to believe this. At least they're all her indoors. But it wasn't a complete accident.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yep.
You're not helping the cause here, guys.
Don't deviate from a lie, mate. Just keep going. You're fine.
However, as I have a wife who is also a board gamer,
Deny.
I do have official permission to go. So those who are at Historicon on the Friday, I'll be there.
So it's like Meeples International.
Meeples International, take a recording device with you.
It is my intent to take a recording device, and if we can actually get off our asses and sort them by then, I might even have a Meeples t-shirt on.
Well, challenge, there we go. I have to decide what logo we're going to use.
We have to decide who's going to supply that amount of cotton as well.
Well, yeah, it's the vertical problem with you, mate.
That's right. I was thinking about all 4 of us, to be honest. In different ways, we need large amounts of cotton.
This is probably true. Anyway, so
hang on, except for one.
Who's that?
Hobbsy.
Well, Mr. Hobbs is saying that things are growing.
Yeah.
Hobbsy is small but perfectly formed.
Yes. Plus mine will be silk.
Look, cotton's never good enough for the Welsh wizard.
No, it's got to be silk, mate.
Yeah, should we get a little hat made for you as well? A little pointy one?
Oh, there's no need. I have several.
I could imagine.
I'm just not going there. Listeners may be aware of a little meme involving the "I get my pointy hat" on the interweb, and you really don't want to go there. Moving swiftly on. Anyway, so I will be at Historicon on the Friday. Do look out for me.
Cool, excellent stuff. Well done, mate. No,
I did some very devious negotiation.
I could imagine. The conversation,
and without lying at all. Whatever you might think.
No, we believe you.
Yeah. With friends like this, who needs enemies?
Yes, indeed.
If in doubt, kick the brummie.
And at that point, I think we'll wrap this edition of what we've been up to up, and we'll take a break and we'll go back with some hobby news. Is that okay with everybody? Is everybody finished?
We're just leaving you hanging here. You didn't realise.
I was going to say, the tumbleweeds have it. Okay, let's go for a break. Announcements, new releases, Kickstarters. What's caught our eye? It's time to catch up with the Meeples and Miniatures hobby news. So here we are with the hobby news. Now, obviously, we covered quite a few new releases and stuff back on the Salute Show, right from the horse's mouth, with various manufacturers and stuff. But in the weeks following Salute, there have been a few things that have happened. And, of course, there were a few people that we missed at Salute anyway. So let's catch up and see where we go, shall we?
Certainly do. Shall I start?
Go on then.
So, we mentioned a couple of issues ago the Blood and Plunder Kickstarter. Lots of lovely 28mm pirates, courtesy of Firelock Games, which took off like the proverbial rocket, did its goal in about 10 minutes flat, is now at $136,000 out of $15,000, and still with 2 weeks to go. Even by the time you listen to this, it'll still have a bit of time to go, I think. And they appear to be doing quite well for themselves. Lots of nice little extra figures for stretch goals, some Kickstarter exclusive figures, some faction dice, some faction decks. I have pledged £1 purely so I can get one of the add-ons, which is the very, very nice frigate, on the grounds that I have visions of seeing that sitting off the coast of Spain at some point in a sharp practice game.
I've been really good and haven't backed this one.
Oh, I'm impressed.
I've only backed it for $1 at the moment, so
Yeah. So tempted, but I
I
think
can always change my mind.
How did you manage to resist, Mr. Hobbs?
I don't know. It's unlike me. I think it's you, Dave. You're rubbing off on us all.
I'm not rubbing off on anyone.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I did look at it and think, oh, that looks really, really nice, but I'm just, do I need a whole pirate game? I like the ships. I'm like Mike. I really like the ships. So I've been looking around for other ships, even though I don't need one.
Yeah, by distinction with quite a lot of the other ships that are out there, these are actually rigged.
Oh wow! Okay.
As well as mass, they've got rigging. They provide you with sail templates, so you can make your own sails or use the paper ones they provide. But they are well nice.
Yeah, they look really good.
All right, so you could do like canvas sails with
absolutely
with PVA and
rip up your old bed sheets.
Sounds nice.
They're rather nice.
You don't want to get involved with this, Hobbsy.
I'm sure.
You sure?
I'm being good. For me, it's Great Northern War and more of it as well.
I was going to say, hang on, I'm being good. Hang on, what definition of good are you using at this point in time?
Well, it doesn't normally stop you, Hobbs, eh?
Yeah. The way I'm looking at it, it's far too south for me. For me, I only war game up in the frozen north.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming, like. Yeah. And any more south than Newcastle, and that's it. I'm not interested.
And you were Welshman?
Yes.
Mike Hobbs, the Ned Stark of Meeples.
That can't be because I would have been acting season
I was going to say, yes, he's still here.
There's still time.
They just killed him off that quick.
Yeah.
Maybe Sean Bean, because
I'm sorry.
He can't last
if that was actually spoilers for anyone in Game of Thrones. I'm really, really sorry, but you are 5 series behind, getting on 6.
And I'd just like to point out, no more spoilers, please, because I haven't seen it. I've only read book 1.
They all die in there, mate.
Oh yeah,
I've
gathered that.
I hear rumours that book 7 or whatever it is that they're up to now is going to be late because Death has hired George R.R. Martin to script 2016, and he appears to be doing far too good a job.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
Moving on.
Okay, well, talking about Kickstarters then, I just want to give a shout out to a couple of guys because we spoke to them at Salute, and that is Matt and Rich from Steamforged Games, and I would just love to have been a fly on the wall during the first 24 hours of their Kickstarter.
If the sight of wholesale panic does something for you.
If ever there was a Kickstarter that went absolutely mental, Dark Souls, the board game, is it. It was 50,000. I think they funded in 3 minutes.
They funded pretty much within the experimental hour of the Kickstarter timer, I think.
I think they did. They got they broke $1 million within 30 hours. Something like that, wasn't it? It was, I mean, at the moment, there are 11 days to go. So it finishes on May the 16th. So it'll be a day after you listen to this podcast. It finishes at 8 p.m. on May the 16th. This podcast is getting released hopefully released on May the 15th. So if you're still interested, you might get a chance. But we're recording this recording this particular thing on the 4th of May. Okay, 11 days to go. They are currently
Star Wars Day.
In Star Wars Day, indeed. Oh, we missed it, guys. Oh, how could we possibly miss Happy Star Wars Day? Oh, dear me.
I had them, but I couldn't think we could be much as big a geeks as that, to be honest.
Oh, personally, I think the whole thing's got far too commercialised, and I'm just walking away from it.
Well, I did tweet it at 1 a.m. this morning. Because it was Star Wars Day in the UK. So, anyway, so
you need to get out more.
So at the moment, okay, it's got 19,542 backers, and they with a current pledge level of 1,954,972 pounds.
I think that actually tops the first Reaper Bones, doesn't it?
It's getting up. I mean, people are kind of going, oh, well, Conan was 3 million, but yeah, Conan was $3 million. This is pounds.
Oh. And even with the rubbishy exchange rate, that's pretty good.
Yes, and this has still got, I mean, wasn't Conan basically, there was this kitten card game,
Yes, Exploding Kittens.
Exploding Kittens that did.
Which I have.
Oh, did you back it?
It was coming up as a discount offer on Amazon a couple of months ago, so I grabbed a copy.
Okay, but Exploding Kittens was originally that is officially the biggest board game Kickstarter ever. Admittedly, that had 210,000 backers, but it was that went to something like $8 million, I think it was. However, the next one down, I think it's Zombie Black Plague. Zombicide Black Plague, but again, you've got things like, it's all around the likes of that. You've got obviously Conan and stuff like that, and I think it can be safely said that probably with the exception of Exploding Kittens, by the time it gets to the end, Dark Souls will be the biggest, or it'll be the second biggest board game Kickstarter ever.
For it might beat it on backers. Exploding Kittens had 212,000 backers and $8.7 million.
Yes, but as I say, that was one thing. Yeah, that was just loads and loads of people backed it for not a lot of money.
It had, if memory serves, it had a very, very small.
No, it was something like $35. If that
$35 main pledge, and they had 200 and God knows how many thousand people backing at that level.
Yeah. Now, and again, I mean, yeah, this is basically sensible. They've got like one pledge goal, and then, I mean, okay, there's a few add-ons.
Summed up fundamentally as buy the damn game.
Well, yes, quite. And you're now getting a fair bit for your 80 UK pounds.
I'm assuming that they have done the maths, and this is now basically being funded by sheer economies of scale.
I really hope so. I really hope so.
Fail.
Because, I've even convinced Tomato at work to back it. Hickey's backing this, Mr. Luff.
Fundamentally, and I think we've had this discussion before.
Yes,
the thing about something like a board game is that you have an initial tooling cost, and then the unit cost goes down massively as the number of copies you shift goes up.
Yes. But I can...
And if you're at the point where your unit cost is dropping like a stone, you can afford to start sinking more money into your initial tooling cost to add more shiny stuff to go in the box.
Yes.
And I do hope they've got the maths right.
Yes. I mean, all being well, we shall catch up with them at UK Games Expo, and I might even get a quote on the record. I'll probably get one off the record.
Bring them a bottle of Valium. I think they'll need it by then.
I mean, I'm just thinking that, I mean, I mean, yeah, estimated delivery was April 10th for 2017. I think at the moment it's like not a hope. Not with
To be honest,
not necessarily. Yeah, with 20,000 units. Plus, I mean,
I don't think that's the issue at this point. The issue is ensuring you get all the components sculpted in time to mass produce it.
well, that's it. That's it.
Once you hit that point, whether it's 5,000 units or 20,000 units, doesn't really matter. What matters is making sure everything's ready to go.
Yeah, and plus the fact, obviously, it's because I think it's been produced in China. So, although having said that, I suppose they do have the backing of someone like Namco. So they do have a fair bit of clout. So you would hope that from a scheduling point of view, Namco could just turn around and go, we could kind of just extend our time, as opposed to all of a sudden going, oh well, we need this amount of time because we got this run, and you can have that, but it's going to be another 4 or 5 months delay before we can schedule it in, sort of thing. Anyway, I know we digress totally, but I just wanted to say huge congratulations to the guys. I hope you got your summers right, guys, but if you have, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Top stuff. Well done, guys.
If I might butt in for the next couple, since these are really my bag.
Go on then.
We have 2 3D printing scenery Kickstarters.
Yeah, there's something that I spoke about a long time ago, didn't I, Neil?
Never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened. No, never happened.
How
So
many times
we have
I not been knocked for that?
It's all right, I get it as well. Hobbsy still thinks I'm way wrong.
That's right. Well, how long ago was it, Neil, that I first mentioned that? It was a long time. It's got to be 5-6 years ago. Wasn't it?
It's got to be at least 5 years ago. Yeah.
So anyway, we have the folks from Starkitecture. It's a 3D printed 15mm scale sci-fi cityscape who have set themselves a very impressively moderate goal of $500 and made it with 11 days to spare.
15mm. Ooh.
Yeah, it's really nice looking at it.
I am actually sufficiently tempted by that. I might pop in a quick pledge fairly soon. Basically, it's one of these where I haven't quite gone through the details. I'm assuming they're selling you the... Oh no, they're actually printing them for you. Gosh. Those look rather nice. Yeah. So yeah, essentially they are 3D printed modular sci-fi cities. So you've got things like massive stackable sort of apartment blocks with balconies that just stack up, which look rather clever. They do look rather nice. They do look rather nice, don't they, Dave?
Yeah, they are. They're a bit more than rather nice, I think. Yeah. I think
what else have we got? We've got docking station, we've got power pylon, we've got space bug.
I mean, another use for those is if you're doing some sort of urban landscape and you're doing some sort of war game skirmish over a favela or something like that.
Yeah,
you could use them for that, couldn't you?
Yeah, they've got some catwalks. So if you don't like the Sarissa, I think the Sarissa one's 28, but if you want the 15mm equivalent of the Sarissa catwalks and stuff, or for that matter, the Dead Zone modular stuff, these are very nice. And they come in variable colours as well. And then, like London buses, the folks from Thunderchrome are producing some 3D printable post-apocalyptic scenery.
That sounds like you should have its own TV series, isn't it? Like, Thunderchrome!
Thunderchrome. So it's modular, it's memorable, and it's mad. You can't argue with that, can you? And again, it looks like they've got some lovely little scenery pieces that all stack together in much the same way as the Dead Zone stuff does, but possibly without the pain. And they're very sort of rough and ready, sort of sci-fi shanty towns kind of stuff, and they look rather good. And they are looking for... Scrolls back up to the top, stops drooling. They're looking for, once again, €500.
So they're funded.
And they're funded. They've got 16 days to go, so the first lot, Starkitecture, finish on May the 16th, just after this podcast comes out, and Thunderchrome finish on May the 21st. So if you are interested in 15mm or 28mm 3D scenery, and I'm still struggling to figure out whether they're 3D printed again, not selling you the designs.
No,
so
they're selling you they're selling you the actual models, aren't they?
Yes, because it would be very nice to suggest to them perhaps they might want to scale their models to 15mm for those of us who want some 15mm scenery. So there you go. 3D printable scenery is in.
The future.
I know.
That'll be...
I like having you on this podcast, Luffy. You agree with me.
Well, the thing is, I said, here we go. I said 7 years ago when I first ever saw them, the very first one, and it cost, a gazillion pounds and only corporations could afford them. And I said to Neil at the time, I says, that's the future. I says, one day you're going to be just downloading off the internet to have a license to make 50 figures. And that would be it.
There are people doing it already. The micro 3D printer Kickstarter is under $300 for a desktop wife acceptable looking 3D printer.
No, never happened. Never happened
at all. And I reckon it'll be 1 or 2 years at most before folks start having 3D printers just because they can.
Yeah. I think they'll have them, but I think the quality of the product they'll produce will be rubbish, especially for 28 or lower figures. It'd be fine for terrain because you can handle the variations.
With time, it will get better.
Yeah, with time it'll get better, but I still reckon you're not going to be able to print your own army within 10 years.
We've had this discussion, and I think it's well inside 10 years. The current technology is good enough for buildings. The SLA technology, which is what you need for resolution figures, is already only just over 4 figures for a printer, and apply Moore's law to that, and it will be down to 500 within a year or two.
And it's not just that; it's the technology that they're using outside of it for other applications that's actually developing, because they're using it now to make jewelry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they actually just layer layers of gold down, and the thing is, what's going on, because I did spend some time at Birmingham Jewelry doing at university, and but the problem that's happening is that you can't fix something that's been made by a machine, because some of these things are so intricate that they just can't be mended. And, all that technology is going to come through.
Yeah, I just think you've got the 3 things. You've got the serrations that it produces, which, that'll go down with technology. I think the product that is printed in is brittle, so that needs to be looked at and changed. And also the time. And I think, the amount of time that these things take to clean up, or people just turn around and go, it's not worth it for an army. If you've got to spend, an hour or so waiting for the thing to print out and then spend another hour chipping off all the bits and cleaning it up so you can actually paint it, as opposed to going out and just buying the box for 10 or 15 quid.
Well, I've seen perfectly made figures already that, have no flashing or anything on them at all.
It's really down to having people who know how to design for 3D print, in the same way that there are things that you can't do trivially for molded plastic. And it requires a certain measure of design skill to build figures for molded plastic that actually will release from the mold properly and hang off sprues. There is a certain design skill necessary to produce 3D printed figures that you don't have to, that don't fall apart when you print them and don't require a massive overhead to clean. And it's coming sooner than you think it is.
But anyway, I think it's a moot point, because we noticed this week that Prodos have fixed the problem of printing, of producing figures. They've got a whole new thing called Unicast, which is going to revolutionize the whole industry.
Oh, sorry, I was forgetting. Yes, Prodos Games. Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
The savers of us all.
Yeah. Now, maybe they have got something, but apparently they seem to have linked in technology from plastic molding into resin molding to have injected resin molding, which they reckon has got very low startup costs, is really quick, and is really, really cheap. And they can produce anything, no limitations on undercuts.
I'll be very interested to see how that one pans out.
Yes. I think we all will be. I mean, maybe they have got something.
Well, they've put a fair amount into having something, so...
Yeah. So let's see what happens with that.
I'm desperately trying not to say anything.
I got a nice news item.
Go on.
Right, this is the first for us. This has never happened on this show. We're going to discuss a Games Workshop release.
First time. Not the first time.
Well, no, it's the first time. It's the first time we discussed one, and it's made it to air.
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
And it's positive.
We've had at least 2 Games Workshop news items since the start of the year. Because I've put them in.
They usually aren't these rubbish.
No.
Oh. Okay, so Games Workshop have actually released a box set of 2 of their 40k nights, which usually go out for about 80 quid. So two of those nights, plus some terrain and some quick play rules, at £120. That's like a discount of 70 quid from Games Workshop.
Tumbleweed.
Yeah.
Me and Dave saw a game that has been put on at Salute, which contained several nights.
They're not small figures.
No,
They're not.
Oh no, no. I mean, you're talking. What, they're going to be 9 inches to a foot tall.
Yeah.
So it was a game with set. Apparently, it was a 30k game. Okay, so it was set on Mars, and Dave may remember this. Is that I looked at the table, looked at Dave, looked at the table, looked at Dave, and what was the phrase? I think that just looks a bloody mess or something like that.
Well, I said, someone's just thrown a load of figures on a table.
Mm.
To be fair, that isn't necessarily a criticism of the product, but
No,
it does tie in with some of the comments we had about some of the tables at Salute.
Yeah. Now, I have seen a couple of shots from earlier in the day, so I know one thing at least is that the figures were being moved around. So it was actually a game in progress. However, and yes, I've got a mate at work who is currently building a couple, and if you like that sort of thing, then very nice. You know, as you say, it does make a change. I mean, you know, because normally it's a case of you know, these things are normally produced by Forge World, and they can charge what they like
because people who want them will pay them.
Yeah, I mean the reason I put this into the news items is people down at the club are talking about, and they are big 40k players, but all of them have turned around and said this is the first time that GW have released something with that amount of savings on it. Normally, if they put 2 nights into a box, they would charge you for 2 nights. So,
I mean, there's a very crude observation, which is that basically Games Workshop prices bear a linear relationship to force point values.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the idea that you can get something that's clearly, you know, 9 inch to a foot tall Imperial Knight is going to be an awful lot of points in your 40k force. The idea that you can get 2 of them for nearly less than the price of 1 is probably anathema to Games Workshop.
Yeah, it's quite an unusual one. I haven't seen that level of discounting.
It is quite surprising, isn't it?
And from what I've heard from, you know, people who are down the club who know some of the people in Games Workshop, apparently there is a bit of a sea change in the management over the last few months.
That can only help.
Yeah. So maybe they have been listening. Who can say?
There's the thing. Anybody play Sharp Practice?
Hey!
Anybody doing Indian Mutiny?
No.
Well, my regular partner in crime, Andy, is moaning bitterly that he appears to need more forces than he thought he did for the Indian side of things. Iron Duke miniatures.
Mind you, he is also kind of, or he was playtesting those other set rules, wasn't he?
Yes. What? Men Who Would Be King.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mersey.
So yes, he's certainly interested in having the figures anyway. But Iron Duke Miniatures have just announced a new range of Indian Mutiny figures which are available for Empress and look really, really nice.
They do look good.
They do look good, don't they?
Yeah. I think it's Hicksy sculpting.
I'll take your word for it. You seem to be the expert on who sculpts stuff around here.
Yeah, but they do look good.
We should add they are, of course, in God's own scale.
Yes, proper scale. For a proper game.
Don't like Indie Mutiny.
It's only because it's 28 mil.
No,
Imagine
don't,
it's
just
6
don't do Indie Mutiny. Interestingly, again, this is one of these things of in the article I have almost finished for Henry. One thing I'm talking about. Funny enough, it links in with the question in the mailbag. Not that I'm kind of multitasking and plagiarising over several different types of media, but there we go. But talking about one thing is, okay, are there any particular periods that you just kind of go, no? And Indie Mutiny, unfortunately, is just one that I'm sorry, doesn't do anything for me whatsoever. I'm really sorry.
Everybody has their periods that don't do anything for them.
Of course, there is one perfect period, lads, for Neil to do. Can you think what it might be? For sharp practice.
Go on.
Here we go.
Well, we know that Neil sometimes has problems with deciding what strategy he's going to use, don't we? So I thought, why don't we just do Jacobite Rebellion? Neil can play the Jacobites, and then he has got no worries about what he needs to do in a game.
Good, he's good. He's kilt about his loins and charge madly.
That's right. He hasn't got to change. He hasn't got to put them in the Hannah Mag, take them out the Hannah Mag, put them in the Hannah Mag, take them out the Hannah Mag. He hasn't got to do any of that. All he's got to worry about is charging, which is what he loves.
I have a sudden momentary vision of Neil in a kilt, and I'd like to go and floss my brain now, please.
But the biggest problem is, Dave, is he's got to paint tartan.
Oh, that's true. Maybe you could send them off to a professional painter.
Mm. But if you did it in 6 mil, then you wouldn't have to bother with the tartan, would you?
No, that's true. Oh, poor lad. Look, he's gone all quiet on us now.
Yeah.
Does Bacchus do Jacobite Rebellion in 6 mil?
No, but I bet if you ask Pete, he might do it.
Who does Jacobite Rebellion in 28 then?
How could you tell him from any other 6 mil figure?
Oh, that's fighting talk, that is. Oh.
Well, let's speak.
Sorry, lads, I had to get that in.
Oh, dear.
So anyway,
yes, I enjoy. But seriously, who does 28 mil Jacobite Rebellion? Any thoughts?
No. But anyway, that was IMG's rather lovely 28 mil Indian Mutiny figures, which I suspect I'll be seeing quite a few of on a table near me very soon.
Cool.
Moving on.
I like alternate World War II.
Hey?
I like alternate World War II. I'm a fan of alternate World War II.
We also like Modiphius.
We do. And whenever we have him on the show, we end up spending money. And we've invited him back on because I was hoping to get hold of Chris at Salute, and missed it for some strange reason. I missed him completely. I don't know what we were doing, but missed him completely. And they have recently announced the pre-orders for Achtung Cthulhu: The Skirmish game. Now you may remember that a couple of years ago, it was actually the first product they did. I think Modiphius did, or one of them. Sorry, no, I think they'd done Warzone. One of the first things they did was the Achtung Cthulhu role-playing game, and excellent it is too. Really, really good. They have actually just finished producing the last thing for it, which is the Mountains of Madness campaign. And that's now finished, so Achtung Cthulhu is now officially done and dusted, as of a few weeks ago. But, in conjunction with what they were producing, a company, I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was in conjunction with Clockwork Goblin. Anyway, they got together and they produced some 28mm figures for the RPG. But there was always talk that they'd do a fully fledged skirmish game. And they've just announced it. Ooh, looks nice.
It looks very nice.
And they've used the Dystopian Legions engine.
Yay!
Which some people around here really like, don't you, Mike?
I do. Nice set rules.
Yes. So they have used the same game engine that was in Dystopian Legions, and they are producing Achtung Cthulhu skirmish game. The starter set is up for £75, I think it is, which is I think it's a saving. Well, if you look at what you get in the box, I think it's a saving of around about £30 odd, something like that. But it looks very nice, and there's loads of extra box sets available of stuff. And so, if you like Alternate World War 2 and you're a bit of a Cthulhu fan, and now's the opportunity. All this time they built up this role playing background, but now you get the chance to actually play it as a proper war game as opposed to an RPG. And yeah, it looks really good. So funnily enough, we're going to get Chris back on the show because we do need to find out all about this. So hopefully, but either just before or just after release, we will have Chris on the show to talk all about it. But drool is all I can say at this point in time. They look really nice.
It does.
And, of course, it's typical of these things. Guess who's just sold all these, 28mm vehicles and what have you, and all these 28mm stuff, and, because it is made to go kind of alongside conventional forces. From reading the Gun Fit stuff, yes, you can have all your conventional troops. So, listen up, everybody who plays Bolt Action and Chain of Command, in 28mm. Misled though you are about the true scale of what you should be playing that game in, but listen up, because now a few additional figures and you can get there you have a complete brand new game.
Not only that, but I'm saving Hobbsy here from the mouthful that is Antediluvian miniatures.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If you want a nice sort of Elder God tentacled horror for your Achtung Cthulhu game, those folks from Antediluvian Miniatures have just released Zorgon, God of the Lost City, for £25, who is fundamentally a ravaging tentacled horror dinosaur thing, and looks like he'd go very well with Achtung Cthulhu.
I'm sure he fit in there lovely.
They're the guys who produced the rather nice Lost World figures that we were drooling over a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
Lots of dinosaurs and Lost World character figures. And as I said, now you can have something of the eldritch tentacled horror to scare the living daylights out of your Achtung Cthulhu forces.
I don't know whether it's quite Cthulhu-esque. It's very Harryhausen.
Got tentacles and teeth. What more do you want, man?
It's very, very Harryhausen.
It's sculpted by local boy made good Chris Haynes. So
cool.
I also suspect there's probably a few people eyeing that for some random Kings of War nightmare army as well.
Yeah. Sorry, that was Phil Haynes, not Chris Haynes. Yes. Phil's a nice chap.
He's a very nice man.
Yes.
It's a big figure. 8 centimetres tall. 12 centimetres across. It's big. It's not bad for £25 then, is it?
No, it's very good.
Lead in that. And it does look to be lead, not resin. Is it resin with lead bits? I think it is, isn't it?
It's a resin base, and all. Yes, with lead tentacles.
Right, resin base, resin body, and all the tentacles are lead
or metal of some description.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Lead in the generic sense of thing they make figures out of.
Indeed. Yes. All very nice. Yeah, that and Achtung Cthulhu.
Fridge made in the darkest pits of hell.
Yes. Well, Shropshire.
Oh dear. Just alienated anyone who lives in Shropshire now.
Sorry to those people.
Speaking as someone for whom that is their favourite county that isn't Yorkshire, can I say...
Shropshire's lovely. He just wants to be Wales, deep down. Moving on. All right. As we're doing the shout-outs, as the kids call them, Craig Thompson, who I play with now and again down at Firestorm, he runs a little company called Tiny Terrain Models, and he started producing a little range of 28mm modern miniatures. He also does a bit of work with Demorin Skirmish Sanguine, so he's producing some models to go with that. So he's only got one pack out at the moment, which is a medic, and so, but he's got a couple extras coming.
Yes.
Special forces and intelligence officers and all that sort of stuff. But it's being sold via Evil Bear Games. So yeah, look out for those. They look very nice.
They do. Yes, they do. Yes, I twigged on what you on what you were talking about. Yeah, I remember them. Yes, the medic is very good. Yes, does look nice. And yes, one of several bits and pieces due out from him. So, hey, Mike, you can talk about something now because you no longer risk getting sued.
And what's that then, Neil?
Well, tell us all about it. Okay, start of the week, or was it back in the last week? If you remember, back last year, we had Sam Mustafa on the show. And we were talking about Aurelian, and then he teased us with the fact that he was actually doing a sci-fi game. And then during the interview, Sam and Mike went off about various different. I can't remember how much I edited out of that. But I do remember it was kind of, hang on a second, let's park the interview for a few minutes while we talk about sci-fi game design.
It's something I'm interested in.
Anyway, subsequent to that, you got involved in playtesting, didn't you, mate?
I have been. Aye.
And he's been very good. He hasn't told us a thing about it. He's been a very good boy.
Yeah, it's been very interesting playtesting. Sam playtests in a completely different way to anybody else I've ever worked with. It's very, very quick. Literally, massive rule changes in a couple of days. You know, new versions coming out. Try this. And, yeah, really, really quick. It's like a hothouse. That's the way I can describe it. But it works. He's come out with a nice set of rules. So basically, Freejumper it's a sci-fi game. You have one ship, and the ship really is your character. So it's campaign-led. Think Firefly. That's the only way I can describe it. It's that, you know, it's not a go and get a great big combat vessel. It's basically you got a little ship and you're basically trying to capture cargo and...
I'm sold already.
Yeah, you know, it's that kind of sort of feel around it. And he's got some really nice concepts in there. You know, weapons pretty much always hit as long as you're within range.
Neil, you're in luck.
Yeah. You got broadcast weapons, which, you know, are trying to hack into systems. You've got cards for your system. So you basically, you start off with some money, you buy a ship hull, and then you buy the equipment that goes in it. So you can buy offensive stuff, defensive, you can get crew, little extras to repair stuff. And as you know, say for example, you want to fire a gun, you put down your card of your gun. So you're right, I'm firing this gun at this ship. And then the person you're firing at has got a choice if he wants to defend against it. So he'll have his own cards with his defensive cards in there. If he's got one that matches, he puts it down and went, nope, I blocked it. And so whenever you use a card, that goes into an offline state. And at the end of the turn, the ship's brain will basically reboot those systems into online. So it's a card-based mechanic. It's deck building. It's a bit of poker in there. It's very clever.
And how many players is it for?
Oh, multiple. It works best with about four to six. If you're playing one-on-one, you really want to play with two ships each. Because if you're only playing with two ships on the board, it can get a little bit predictable because you just end up basically in a trudge match or drudge match against each other, you know. But this is where the scenarios come into it. because you're always trying to do something. You're always trying to sort of capture the cargo that's floating around, or try and get to the space station to dock. To do whatever. So there's always these little missions. So you're trying to do the missions while stopping your opponent from doing the mission. You can build your ship anywhere you want. As you do a mission, a game lasts about 45 minutes to an hour. So you finish the game, you work out how much money you got. You go back to the used spaceship lot, and you can part X your ship and buy another one, or you can buy some more equipment, buy some more cards, and off you go again. So it's really a nice, clever little game. And that is the quick 5-minute discussion of Freejumper.
We'll do a more in-depth one a bit later. And actually, we are currently trying to organise to get Sam back on the show, aren't we?
Yeah. So I think he'll be back on, or probably in August when he gets back from Germany.
Indeed. And he can tell us about the next thing he's working on. But in the meantime, we'll also, we'll see if we can get a more in-depth review of Freejumper. Yes.
Yeah, there's lots more to it. It's really good. I mean, you buy the rules. He's doing it as a PDF, which is, I think, his first one. So it's PDF.
Second, because Aurelian was PDF.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's PDF. I think he's going to be doing print on demand. If you want the cards, you can just download those free, or you can buy cards printed already from his. They get the same. Drive through
RPG, I believe, is the guy he uses.
Yeah, they're one of the two big ones, aren't they?
Yeah. So you can get the cards for them, but it's lovely. The information for a ship is on a card. All of the weapons on a card. So you have a hand of cards, and you got some stuff in front of you, and a couple of dice, and away you go. No tables to look up, nothing.
Dave, I just want to explain. This is something called science fiction. You may not be fully aware of it.
Oh, sorry, Neil. What did you say?
I just remembered something else I bought.
What else did you buy, Hobbsy?
He buys that much stuff in a month, he can't even remember.
I bought Colin's Epic War Games Spear Point. I bought Spear Point, the Village edition.
Oh, that was all the terrain pack stuff that you got for Spear Point 43, yeah?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought that. And that's not quite right. That's another nice little game. I think we mentioned very, very quickly. But again, card-based game. Really interesting.
Yeah. Because we do need to mention it because obviously by the time you're listening to this, it would appear that the all-new revamped Polyversal Kickstarter will be up and running, won't it?
Yes. Yeah.
It's rather look that way, doesn't it? I saw mention on Twitter they were filming madly a couple of days ago.
I thought I saw at time of recording they were hoping to get it turned around and launched in about a week or so.
Yeah, so it should be out.
So we'll have our usual pithy comments on a currently running Kickstarter in the news item in a couple of weeks' time after you hear this.
Yes.
And in the meantime, if you want to know what it's all about, just go and visit Mr. Hobbs' blog, because he has been allowed to breach some of his other non-disclosure agreements to actually write some stuff about Polyversal.
Sometimes I do tread a very legalistic line.
How many NDAs have you signed, Hobbsy?
I can't tell you.
Is that under a non-disclosure?
That would be disclosure.
1, 2, 3, 4 for gaming, and an awful lot in work.
Is that it? Are we done?
I think we're done. Are we done? You certainly have been. Okay, so that was the hobby news. We'll take a break.
After a word from our sponsors.
Indeed. And then you'll get to hear from Alan and Michael Perry and Dave Marshall, following our visit to the Royal Armouries. Have you ever wondered what's going on in wargaming? We do too. So come with us as we go behind the hobby with the Meeples and Miniatures interview.
Today, the day so far. Just to introduce what's happening here, we've got the makers of our stunning Agincourt diorama, which is just outside in the wall gallery. If you haven't seen it already, go and have a look. It's amazing. Here today we've got David Marshall of Dioramas, who is the project manager, and we've got Alan and Michael of Perry Miniatures talking through how the figures were made for the models. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to David.
Afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Has everybody seen the diorama? Anybody not? I know you guys have. Everybody home? Okay, that's fine. Well, that's a summary of the diorama. Just to give you some vital statistics about it first. It's a 4 metre by 2 metre table, covered by about 4,500 figures. They're all 28mm scale, so about 156. So the figure is about an inch tall. So there's 4,500 figures of them. These guys are the fellows who designed them and got them made. So that took a while to do. We have 1,000 arrows on there. If you've seen it, has anybody noticed the arrows in the ground? Well done. Yes. That took us all morning, 3 of us. And you can only see them in certain light, but you know, it's worth it when you see them. We have about 100 trees, about 500 stakes. What else? Say 4,500 figures. The figures represent about one figure is about 5 men, and we've taken the numbers based on Anne Curry's research from her Agincourt book. She's lecturing in Southampton. Yeah. So a very well-known medievalist, rather than the Shakespeare version.
And does he have the Royal Armouries?
Oh yes, yes. So relevant today, Shakespeare. None of that has played a part in the diorama. So yes. So there are 4,500 figures that represent about 1 to 5. So there's 22,500 men represented. We've gone with a ratio of 3 Frenchmen to 2 Englishmen. Now, traditionally, perhaps you think it was the few Englishmen against many French. We discussed it may even have been 1 to 1, but it's. You think back years that it was a few Englishmen and thousands of French. We've decided on the 3 to 2, so we have about 1,800 English, which represents about 9,000 Englishmen, and 2,700 Frenchmen, which is about, what's that times 5? Loads. Out of that we have about 150 cavalry, French cavalry, and they made the initial charge, so there's about 750 cavalrymen, we've decided. Now, against 7,000 archers, it was going to be tough for them to see it through. Anyway, how we did it. Ta-da! 2.5 years ago, it started like this. This is my unit in Sileby in Leicestershire. I use a lot of Robinson's barley water. Keeps me going. A lot of sugar in it. So the first thing we did, because it's a 4 metre by 2 metre table, I couldn't make that in one piece. It was just too big to go through the doors. You'll see later when it went to the armouries, it would have been impossible to get to the tower. In London, it would be impossible to get it into the tower. So we had to split it up into 4 sections, 4 metres, 2 metres by 1 metre. I've got a carpenter to make the wooden carcasses, MDFs around, contoured to fit the battlefield, and filled with just white polystyrene. The Robinsons and the glue and the water and things is there to push the polystyrene down while it dried. Anything heavy, water's quite, it's good for that. So there you go again. So that's one section filled with polystyrene, and by then I've also shaped it. I use hot wire cutters. I have a big bow. I can pull it through, heat it up. It's really very effective. And using the edge of the board as a guide, you can make the shape exactly as you want. So that was Christmas around 2 years ago. Oh, that's the kit I use. Sorry, from America, really very useful. If you want a good hot wire machinery, perfect. Once that was done, once all the polystyrene was dry and all it was cut, the figures started to be put on, and I cover it with grout, just normal tile grout from B&Q. Just spread it on, roll it out. I use sand to sprinkle on, because if you roll grout, it brings water to the surface, which makes it very peaky. Adding sand, it's chinchilla sand, so the chinchilla sand is designed to soak up stuff. So it soaks up liquid very well. So you pour it on, roll it out, and it evens it out beautifully. Now all the figures, the vast majority of them are pinned. Alan and Michael will explain a bit more later. But a few of them we made a lot as resin blocks, and so they had to go on first. So they'd be stuck on, and the grout would be levelled up next to them so that you wouldn't see any joins. So that's why we put this first lot of Frenchmen on here and here. And again, another shot. We also put the cavalry on because they're on a base, so we needed to put the grout up to get to just dissolve, to lose the base on all the figures. Again, more barley water in the background. The grout was just very smooth, but because Agincourt was on a muddy field, ploughed field, so we needed to add texture. This next stage, you can see all the footprints and all the. You can't see any of the ploughed bit at the minute, but the next layer after the grout was dry, I laid Artex on. You know the Artex that you put for texturing ceilings. Well, you get that in powder form, and you can mix it really thinly, perhaps for water or for all sorts of other things, or you can mix it whatever texture and thickness you like. I mean, I digress, but these walls were covered in Artex. This was quite watery, and then one afternoon I got, imagine the 28mm figure, the foot is about 3mm, 4mm long. So I got a footprint, and I just spent all afternoon doing that. So you'll see the results with it. It took a while, but at that stage it looks like a snowstorm. On there you can see the plough in the field again, Artex again laid on, and this time with a scalpel dragging it through to get the ploughed field. And that was quite long because some of the plough lines are really long, and to keep them straight over different boards is really, well, that was a challenge, but not as much as the footprints, but anyway, I digress. And then one of the highlights of any project like this for me, it's just a morale thing, is getting paint on. The first layer of paint, it's just great. You feel as if the project is moving on, and that's just, it's a mucky brown, and it does look better again. But that is a good base. It's the Dulux emulsion is Rich Praline 2. It's I use it for all sorts of things. Not on there, no. So all covered. So you can see the grout has still not been painted, but everything else has. And then it starts to come alive by you add washes then. So I use that brown is quite a dull flat brown, but then I wash it with a raw umber. So I get a good quality artist acrylic, Winsor & Newton System 3. And that, I find, keeps the colour nicely when you add water to it. And then I have the pot of brown paint, a pot of water, and a big brush, dab, all over the. Is that technical, really? And so, but it means that you get areas of dark brown, areas of light brown, and all sorts of different shades in between. So you get that variation that it either looks like the sun shining on it, or there's a bit of areas of it is muddy, areas of it's dry. It adds just a variation. That's. You can see the footprints close up. I've also sprinkled a bit of that's some chinchilla sand blown up to that big. The chinchilla sand is really fine. And then after we've painted it, it's then flocked. Now this flock is ring flock, but it's actually involved 8 layers of different colours and different shades, different textures to build it into an interesting texture, really. And we decided that the English were on a fairly new winter field, so still greenery around it, whereas the French were marching across a big muddy field. And if you notice, there was no greenery on that. Now, you see from that, the figures really are the star of the show. Alan and Michael will explain a bit later, but just everything had to be painted. And the key to the whole project was really the painting of these 4,500 figures. Now, the whole project lasted about 2 years, but to paint 4,500 figures, let's say each figure is 20 minutes, half an hour to paint, takes an awful long time. So we got a few painters to do it, and a few of the guys are here today. Simon has painted a few of the personalities, and you'll find those photographed around the edge. Sort of 20 or 30. Yeah. Steve painted, you'll see running away archers. Yes. They're in the spot, look. So that's Steve's handiwork, and that was 40 or 50? 20, 30? Did you, and you got your daughter to paint one, is that right? Yeah, cool. Get them early. And then we also had Andy Taylor, who painted a few. But I mentioned 4,500 figures were painted. That accounts for about 200 or 300. So, 2 guys painted 4,109 other figures. And these, Andy and Rob here. Absolutely. Now, they painted 500 a month, every month for 9 months.
Just over.
And I think that they had good excuses for 2 months to reduce that. One was Christmas, and once they got married, within 2 weeks of each other within the same month, which was very annoying.
2 weddings within 2 weeks, yeah.
So I let them off for the 500,000. So they kept it going, but what was great, that we didn't need... We needed a certain level of painting. We didn't need, wonderful everywhere. So, they were able to paint to the level that we wanted, to the price we wanted, to the schedule we wanted. And without it, the whole thing could have ended up around our knees. So these guys really, if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't look as it is now. So very appreciative of those 2 guys. Anyway, that's me bit done. Over to Alan to show you how all these wonderful figures were made. Thank you.
Kirsty. This is just a small clip. It's only about 5 minutes long. Well, it's quite fast. It's about 8 hours of making a figure. Sorry, about 5 hours of making a figure, which I did for a small Irish documentary team who came over. And they filmed it for over 5 hours and then shortened it. And this is just a cut down version. So this is only about 5 minutes. I think the actual one is about 10 minutes long. So, just show you this. This is basically from scratch. This is making a 28mm figure. 28mm figure, this is not the 3-up ones that we use for plastic. So a little bit faster than I normally work. We both do it in the same way. We both make it exactly the same way. You see, using a cork with an armature stuck in. Good. Sorry. Yeah, I'll go there. Mixing up putty,
You might well have seen all this before.
It's not the most interesting.
Not this speed putty. Just bulking out the wire frame. This is done over the legs and over the torso, and then that's left to dry. It doesn't matter, this is quite rough. It can be rough because it's the first layer. Now, after this, you put that to side to dry off. You put it under a lamp, it'll dry off quicker. When it's dry, working on the legs, just adding more detail on another layer on. And we both work from feet up, and you keep in scale better. If you start from the head down, you end up getting a large head. Or a portion anyway. It's a lot easier to control it this way.
You see, the tools are all dental tools that are being used. The Wax 5 is the main tool, good for pushing stuff around and making creases, and this is for finer creases. Anything with thick needle, anything like that.
We only use about 2-3 tools. These two and scalpel is about the main bit of the tools we use. You don't need more than that. We have a lot more, but they're just for show. All different shapes and sizes. But now this is obviously putting the next layer on. This is all sort of gravity fed the way you're actually doing it. So you put the next layer of clothing over the top of the legs, and this is actually going to be male under a
circuit,
I think. Yeah.
Oh, Gabson.
Oh, that's right. No, putting Gabson on. That's right. Yeah. Wasn't any male. So this is the soft fabric armour, usually about 16 layers of linen, which is perfectly good armour. And as you can see, I was putting the stitches in, going up. Belts put in on, after making an indentation into the soft fabric. It can be cut in with a scalpel, but sometimes it's best to just put the thin, smoothed out fabric on. Okay, putting minor folds and very thin, small folds in, and then putting the stitches in and the detail on top of that after the stitches going in there. And when you're pushing in, it of course causes the fabric to bulge, which you want for the sort of padded look.
How long actual time are we now?
Oh, this is about 4 hours into it.
4 hours.
3 hours. No, 3 hours into it, something like that. I had about 5 all lined up, which were sort of semi-dry, or which were dry, so I went for the next one and the next one.
Because you always work on more than one at a time anyway. It's, one's drying and you're working on the next one.
The face is usually done in one go. And this is going to be inside a hood, so it didn't matter about ears or anything, but I just need the face. And this period, around about sort of 1380s, 1390s, up to about 1415 really. All you can do is see is that much of the face. Usually it's just a fashion thing. Moves up over the chin. And the arms as well, mostly. You see some of the arrows are actually from plastic kits we make. It's just quicker. It's something done at hand. Normally we'd make the weapons first and then get them cast in metal. And then add them.
You notice that we make the head and body and legs in one go, then put the arms on afterwards, drill in and put the wire in for the arms. That allows you to work on the whole of the body without being interrupted by an arm across the chest or whatever.
Some people do the arms already attached to the frame, but you get less chance of moving around afterwards. Obviously, hopefully you can tell he's an archer. Actually, an archer.
Of course, this is slowed down so you can see what's happening.
Oh, this is just slowed down.
Yeah, always much faster.
Is this the same process for your entire range?
Yes, it's exactly that, yeah.
Even for 3 ups, when we make plastic
we
figures,
do
which are
in the same
3
way.
times bigger.
Was this the same process for each archer, or is it like you do
we
templates?
sometimes make mannequins. We make like the head and torso and legs, and you make 3 in similar kind of positions, and then get them cast in metal, come back, so you can make different heads, different arm poses slightly. So it speeds up the whole process. But it will start from the same way.
So this is the quicker version. There is a longer version which will come out when Document comes out. When we heard about when we were first going to put the pitch in for the Agincourt diorama, the spec was they wanted around about 10,000 figures. So we worked, you did a lot of calculations, and worked out the size of the table would be about 21 foot by 15. So based on that, which would be fantastic.
Great, we push for that.
So based on that, I knocked up this Photoshop image of what we thought it might look like. There's actually only about 30 figures photographed and then photoshopped and photoshopped and photoshopped. It took quite some time, but it was quite good to get an impression of what it might look like on a 21-foot table. And I had about 10 of these printed out to take to the first meeting with all the people from the Royal Armouries. And the impression was, yeah, great. And I think after the second meeting, it was, I can't do it that big because you couldn't fit it in the tower, but let alone in here. So that went to pot, really, unfortunately. But it would have been good. I think it would have been more nerve-wracking for...
I wouldn't be here now, I'd be in
David would be, you two probably would be as well, wouldn't you? So, this is the general plan based on...
These were very early drawings of the layout. And you can see it's pretty much as it is now. 3 French attacks, English bows either flank, with English men-at-arms in the middle, and a few bows out front. A few 50, 60 bows in the woods on the left. And that's what we worked on very early on, and it pretty much stayed like that, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
I think the arcs are too extreme on that picture, I think. They end up being...
Oh, it was altered after that.
That's just a rough
very rough. Okay, I don't know how many people here are Wargames, but this range has been around for Agincourt range, made about 10 years ago, I think. It started about 10 years ago. So all the figures are already there, and one of the reasons why sort of Dave suggested we sort of join in, I think, was the figures were already there, and they're actually set into that particular period as well. All the armour and all the clothing and everything is based on the early 15th century. Unfortunately, the whole range was based on normal bases. So one very drunken weekend, me, Michael, and a mate of ours chopped off bases on all the metal masters we had to put in the mould, and add these spikes onto pegs, so they'd be pegged into the terrain. We could do this with infantry because it's they only got 2 legs, whereas horses got 4 and they needed more support. So we came back from the weekend with all the masters, put them into production, and put them into production, and
shoveled them out.
Yeah, we shoveled them out. As soon as we got 500 of them cast, we go over to Andy and Rob. What's it?
God, sorry, so he paid 4,000 pigs.
A year ago. Anyway, we thought. I was thinking it might be a bit quite heavy, 4,000 figures, and we didn't know how we were going to sort of manoeuvre into the tower and everything else. So I thought, by lightening the weight, how about doing a little block of figures, getting them resined, and
also speed
make out the
painting time.
We thought it might slow down. Sort of speed up the painting time. So Dave's just handing out a few of these resin blocks. There's about there's 40 figures in each block. There's about 4 ranks of 10. They had fairly fully armoured men at the front and lesser armoured men at the back. That was just going to form the basis, and then around these we're going to put layers or individual figures to break up the lines and break up the sort of square look. So this is just on my floor in the front room, just working out how many blocks we probably need. And that's back from 9 foot. That's about 9 foot from wing to wing. I don't know if it's sped things up or not. Did it? Andy Rob? Did it speed things up or not?
It sped them up to an extent, but the
drilling all
the spears in was a bit
unfortunately,
more.
these blocks haven't got any weapons, obviously, and so they had to finish up like that. I won't pass this around because it's a little bit delicate, really, but they needed everything on it as well. So that's the basics, but
I think a
little bit more work than that. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think a Dremel was definitely the best purchase we made the entire time, I think.
Okay. Pass you over to Michael. This is just the beginnings of how... Oh, you just pressed over here. Yeah, how we worked out... It's how it's all going to space out on the table. Dave, actually, you put them into all the polystyrene, didn't you?
Yes, we made blocks of polystyrene for about 100 men at a time. And they roughly squared off so that we knew the rough spacing of particularly the English longbowmen.
Because there's a certain amount of space that we could get across the table to fit everybody in. The men at arms, I think, recorded at the time as being 10 deep, 8 deep, 10 deep in the centre.
So, yeah.
And I think that's near, is it 6 deep? I think we ended up with the actual figures, possibly might be 8.
I think it was 6 with the bowmen.
Yeah. And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 with the men at arms.
So judging by how much space we had to cover from wing to wing into the woods, we worked out that that's the kind of density it needed to be. The French, most of which Dave had already put on by the time we got to this stage. I think we arrived and ended up putting the rear ranks on with Dave and a couple of other people helped with sticking the archers actually in place. This all had to be done with the members of the committee from the tower coming up and making sure everything's in the right place. So we had Anne Curry acting as a wargamer. We said, I think we should push them all along up here and put shows in a bit more on the flanks.
It was a lovely day, wasn't it, actually? We were playing toy soldiers with these blocks of soldiers, just, moving them about, and it was this Anne Curry academic, and just enjoying playing soldiers. It was for a whole morning.
I think she said you could get me into this.
Absolutely,
How did it take you to get the final positioning for everything?
A couple of meetings, 3 sessions.
But then as we got, we'd lay the French out first, and that was okay, and then we'd lay the English out on blocks, and that obviously didn't work, or it did work, and then we tweaked it until. So it was a couple of meetings, a few emails back and forwards, and then just
a few compromises because with the cavalry, obviously the cavalry sounds like as if the cavalry were spurred by being shot at to go in first. There's only, I think there's 1,101 flank, and there's 900 something on the other flank, and they probably went in early on before the infantry really formed up, and they started moving after. So, but what we had to do was show the cavalry at the same time as the infantry attack. So one flank is being hit and wheeling about, and the other lot is still going in as the infantry advancing. So it's a little bit of time lapse going on there. I mean, there's more than it's covering a bigger time span really. Because by the time the infantry coming in, the cavalry were probably well away. And it was strange because originally, as Dave said earlier on, that we assumed the French were completely outnumber the English. I was looking at the numbers in other books, and oh my God, that's 10 to 1. Or that's ridiculous. How many? 10,000 horse. How are we going to do that? And then I read Anne Curry's book on the way down the train, the most appropriate kind of points. That somebody said this is the best book on the subject at the moment.
On the train down to the first
first meeting at the tower. And just a minute. French, 12,000. English, 9,000. Oh, we're the 10,000 cavalry. Oh, no, the 10,000 cavalry weren't necessarily there. There's no contemporary record of them actually turning up at the battle. So, oh, great, that's good. And when we told Wesley, who was in charge of the whole project, he assumed it was going to be a kind of not rule strict, but kind of Englishman against the odds of hordes of Frenchmen, and I told him the passage, and he just went white. He said, no, Can't be. I said, where's this? And I said, this is Anne Curry's book. He said, oh, she's on the committee. I'll give her a ring. And immediately picked up the phone and panicked. And yeah, it's true. So we ended up with only about 20% more French, probably 30%. No, it's probably
3 to 2, wasn't it?
3 to 2. Yeah. But, so we basically worked out the infantry coming in and kind of being hindered from the flanks by the archery, and so they're falling back a bit, so that the centre's advancing the fastest, with the second battle coming in at a pace behind, and then the third battle still waiting. It didn't really get into the fight at all. They just hung around. What else was?
And the rear battle is full of militia, bowmen, crossbowmen.
Yeah.
And then just to the left are a couple of artillery pieces, and you can see them on the model.
That never actually made there's no mention of them actually firing off. It sounds like they were there in the camp and they appeared on the field, but they never fired off. Never.
So it'd be interesting if they'd have used the bowmen. What would have happened? Anyway,
yes. Yeah, and all the archers, the French archers and crossbowmen, not a big proportion really of the army, were in the second rank, in the second battle. So they were going to have no effect on the event either. I'll do one. So
you can see the arrows. Look.
Yeah, one of the only buildings.
Oh, there's a better picture than that for arrows.
Yeah, there's a better picture.
But you can see the arrows. Yeah.
So I get excited when you can see the arrows because it's so much work.
Yeah.
So much effect.
So that's the first and second line going in, and the third one there. Oh, there, arrows.
Arrows.
They're just bristles from a brush.
Yeah, I went round Loughborough Market one day looking for a suitable brush that would have brown bristles, so I didn't have to paint them, and the right thickness of bristle, a 1/56 scale arrow bristle. And in the end, I came up with a long radiator brush, and so I just dry brushed, rubbed a white paintbrush all the way along the edges, along the tips, cut them off, and I've had a big bag full of probably about 5,000 arrows. We thought we'd use it. We'll do those in a day. That'll be fine. It'll be great. So 3 hours in, we thought we're not doing any more of this.
Tweezers and glue.
Yes, that was right, wasn't it? It was a tweezer, a little thing of super glue. It was my favourite day. That was.
So then wait.
The banners are all they were commissioned specially for it, and they represent some of the
bigger nobles.
The bigger nobles.
Yeah.
And you can see how important they were because when you've got so many figures and one guy in armour is just like another guy in armour.
And you notice that they're all stiff. That's how they should be because banners, opposed to standards, which are the long trailing ones, but the banners were all stiffened with buckram, and so you could be seen on when it wasn't fluttering, so it's just kind of stiff, like a ball. This is the centre of the English men-at-arms.
These photos are all at the unit still, so none of the glass is on, none of the...
Yeah.
So you can get really close.
More arrows.
Excellent. Now this, what is this?
This is the taken at the tower. Took
this is
quite a lot of the tower before we went into the installation because you get really low angle shots. And stuff.
Before it came here, it was at the we put it into the Tower of London in early October.
Yeah.
Just for the anniversary, and there were photographs of the fun that we had.
That's the massive ranks. That's mainly your work, isn't it? Rob and Andy?
I think there were some more archers that didn't get used, weren't there?
Yes, there are.
There are, yeah.
We realised there was too many things.
Oh, these four guys.
Duke of Brabant, who arrived late. Yeah. This is painted by Tom Richardson on the committee as well.
Worked here, retired now? Yeah, that was up there.
So the Duke of Brabant turned up late for the battle, grabbed hold of the banner from a trumpet, somehow shoved it over his head. I don't know how he done it, but apparently shoved it over his head and tore off into the fray, and probably got killed, didn't he? No, he didn't actually get. I don't think he got involved. I think he just arrived just a bit too late to actually get into the. Oh, I thought he actually. Oh, okay. I think so. I'll have to make sure.
But one of the periscopes has that picture.
He did get killed. Did he get killed? I think so.
Yeah, it says so on
rear of the. That's the centre. Yeah. GMB flag.
So that's that was the part of the proofs of the flag. So every flag was designed and then approved by the guys, and that was a lovely parcel to open. I mean, really colourful. Oh, I'm just gorgeous. I like that. Yeah. So that's just right. This is where it begins. Of course, these boards are 2 metres by 1 metre, 4 of them, full of figures, 18mm MDF all the way around, quite heavy. And they needed to go in boxes so you can see the crate base. So a friend of mine and myself and Francis, who took the photograph, my wife, got them all boxed up. We found a van that was just big enough. It was perfectly planned. And all got in. 2 of us nearly killed ourselves doing it, so we hired John's son to help us out, so the 3 of us. And it was a really nerve-wracking time, this, because it had been safely on my table at the unit for 18 months. Suddenly it was going out into the public, and we were moving it. Can you imagine dropping it? Or scuffing it? Or it was... Oh, we didn't. It was all right. We just got it into the van, you can see. So there was another one on top of that, so that was...
You did move out of the van by that stage, didn't you?
No, I was stuck there for 3 weeks. It was terrible.
So that's the aperture it had to go through. So everything had to go through that window.
This is the Tower of London, and it's on the top floor. No lifts. And they're just spiral staircases. So one of the specs on the tender was it had to go through a metre wide door, 3 floors up. So
and it was raining.
That was the windscreen, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's the changing of the guard.
Yeah.
So, fortunately, we got there at 7 o'clock in the morning because you could only get the vans in before everybody started to arrive.
We were the last in the queue of all the vans.
Fortunately, it stopped raining.
It just stopped raining. Just stuff out.
Because So I was going
to say the crates were just. Was it half a centimetre or something too wide to fit for
yes, the boards were a metre, but the crates had to be 1.20 metre, and that 20 centimetres was vital, and we couldn't get them in unless we tipped it upside down. Fortunately, it stopped raining, so we could take the lids off at ground level, and then winch them. Next. Winch them.
It had to go in there first. And
into the top floor of the Tower of London. So
we didn't go up in that.
We spent quite a lot of time hanging around.
Hanging around in the rain and doing things like this.
So this was the top floor of the Tower of London, just by ourselves, just waiting for our turn.
Ghosts.
I think I'd kill them. Had to wear hard hats and stuff, of course. So this was just waiting to put it all into the tower. That's in the tower.
That's posing.
And that's finished.
Gone in.
Now these photos are from Kirsty's official photographs of the day. So this was in the Tower of London. We have
the Arrow Storm over the top.
Arrow Storm.
Presumably you knew those little periscope low level pictures were there. So presumably you'd lined up.
That's right.
Yes.
To view for each.
Oh yeah.
It was interesting because we'd had quite a lot of discussion on the display because we used to, I think, having the table higher up and glass walls all the way around, so you could look.
Yeah.
So when they said they were going to display it a lot lower with solid walls around, I thought they were missing a lot of the shots. But I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I found now that the way they've done it, it's the periscopes really are the highlight of the exhibition because you can't look wherever you want. You've got to look through those points, and they really concentrate your view. And if you haven't seen them, go and have a look because they're really spot on. And so the figures in the periscopes there's the artillery, there's Brabant, there's some
villagers,
running villagers, there's some coppicing, which traditional medieval farming.
Don't go into the
No, I didn't go into that.
You mentioned it.
I mentioned the prophecy. Henry V, some wagons. That's it, isn't it? Yes. So go and have a look if you haven't seen them through the postcard. They're lovely.
This bit of time lapse that David set up as we were just finishing off putting the gaps.
A summary of the day at the town.
Oh, that was quick. That's the happy coast, didn't it?
So it was very strange, really. We were up in the tower all day, weren't we? 2 days. 2 days.
Yeah.
Just working in an iconic building, playing soldiers. It was.
As you can see, all around us, they're setting up the main the other displays, so we're always in the way. And they're always in the way as well. Well, when we first, before we had to wait half a day for them to move it, they installed all their cabinets before they put them into place. Right exactly where we had the diorama. So, well, we need to go there. Oh, we've got to move all these first. That took another 2 or 3 hours.
Then once this was done, then they slid the border around that you can see, and then the glass. There's 4 sections of glass, and each piece of glass, 4 people lifted it on.
6 people?
4.
Oh, 4 people.
4 people.
What was the white stuff you're putting in between them?
That was more, I mentioned I used Artex.
Oh, yeah.
So I used more of that. And that went quite well at the tower. Learned quite a lot more this time. So, better this time.
Any questions? Now's your chance.
Yes.
Bring it up here. You have to break it up and take it out and then
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. It went really smoothly, though. It went really smoothly.
Well,
in the early days, you mentioned before you finished doing all the terrain.
Only the resin blocks. Only the resin blocks and the cavalry, because of the bases on the cavalry, and the blocks needed to be fixed because they had individual figures around them. So everything had to be sort of blended up. So anything with a peg on it, which is all the infantry, could just be pushed in afterwards. Yeah. Which was,
So that was it. We didn't need to drill, did we?
We thought we were going to have to punch each time and put them in, but we could just push the figure in with glue. It's stuck.
We were going to use super glue, but then we realised that super glue would melt the polystyrene.
I think
2 weeks later, the whole thing would go. So we found some good glue.
How was it decided what time in the battle should be depicted?
There was a big kind of discussion that went on over a couple of meetings at what point. Because at one point they wanted, the committee thought it would be good to have a show of the actual clash of the infantry. But pointed out, obviously the cavalry wouldn't be there then, and all you'd see is a mess of infantry. And you couldn't delineate one from another, either side. So it had to be a little bit further back. I think we were quite keen to have the infantry even further back than the cavalry where they are now. But in the end, Anne Curry suggested that the first wall should be even closer to the English, and that's where we ended up. So there's archers just in the front. Some are starting to run back in between the English men-at-arms just to make way for the men-at-arms to fight. But yeah, it was a... it went back to the forwards a few times, didn't it? Exactly what point we wanted to show. Yeah.
I think as well, how the diorama looked. We didn't want the guys too squashed up and have lots of open space.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a compromise on how it looked and on the historical.
Well, when I looked at it, that's what I thought. Why isn't there more contact?
Yeah, it would have blended in too much.
It would have.
It would have been. I think it would have been a bit of a mess because you would have got just that line in front of that line, and by that stage, some of the archers would be going in the flank. But everything but up one end of the board, you'd have a big gap between the second and the third.
It's quite a dynamic, moving position here. The French, that forward line is starting to point to chase Henry V and those guys. The English bowmen are starting to run away. The cavalry are charging and running. There's lots of movement going.
Distances to scale.
They are roughly. I think we worked out roughly what a bow shot would be. Because obviously, on this disguised field, everybody would be about 5 mil or 10 mil in reality, not 28 mil. So you have to bear that in mind as well.
I think probably the scale between the armies aren't too bad. The width was to fit, really.
Yeah.
I think. I wouldn't like to say that it was accurate. That.
Which set of models were the most fiddly to kind of sculpt? So,
well, the armoured men at arms always takes longer because you're making. You have to wait for each sort of almost bit of armour to dry before you put on the next layer of armour because you're burning each bit at the same time. So they always take the longest. Archers are very quick to do because they're sort of quite
not so easy, not so quick to paint, are they?
I was going to say, yes.
The men at arms are easy to paint. Yeah, if they're fully in white armour. Yeah.
Do you ever want to see another archer again, ever? English archer?
Well, it was probably because as well that we stopped at about the 1100 mark rather than the 1500 we were originally thinking.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Okay.
plans to produce this commercial?
No, it costs too much. I think they'll probably cost less than to buy them than they would if you were buying that many metal figures. But you'd have to drill in and put your own weapons in. Things like. Yeah, true. I mean, we did think about it. We did have discussions about it, but I don't think commercially it would work really.
And they are, a pain to get out the moulds.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of cleaning to do on each one as well. There's always flash between the legs.
Molds are ripped very quickly.
They'll probably get them sent back. They can clean one, please. There's no clean one, but I'll clean myself.
We actually broke a lot of the feet off.
Oh, yes.
Doing it, and David hit them all.
Yeah, you couldn't see them because of the last layer of troops going on. Yeah.
So that's why the French lost them.
Yeah, no, because
there were a lot after. There were 38 of those.
Yeah, 38 blocks. Yeah.
Excuse me, what sort of value would that diorama be once you turn around? It's going to be a long question, but...
Oh,
How much did it cost?
Yeah.
I think that's a question.
No, I mean,
would it be worth it?
It was...
Willing to buy it?
Oh gosh, to buy it, I don't know.
It's a 1 minute.
I think
how much would the tower sell it for? The armories?
I don't even know.
If you think 4,500 figures at £1 each.
I can see it's going to be a lot.
£1 each? For the casting?
Oh, for the casting.
Just quick.
And then
a fiver, I don't know.
Painted?
So you're looking at, what's that, 30 grand just for the figures.
And then
It's got to be a one-off there. It's a lot of money.
Got some business cards if you're interested.
Yeah, £20 for the terrain. You made it.
Yeah, 20 quid for that. Yeah, that was
20 quid. So, yeah, £50,000, 20 quid.
Yeah.
Are there new dioramas that you've made?
Yeah, we did a big one in, me and Alan actually worked on one in New Zealand, one for Peter Jackson, the Chinook Bear, 54mm, which had the same amount of figures, 4,500 figures, but a very much shorter time span to do it. We were asked if we could help out in December, and he wanted it, the museum was going to open on April the 18th.
In 2015.
And that was without anything started, without any terrain or anything.
So about 4 months to produce that many figures.
Yeah.
And we hadn't really made any figures. We made figures for him before, and we knew some of those, but we had to make a lot more as well. Get them cast up.
Get them cast up, sent out to New Zealand to get painted luckily by a bunch of volunteers who are...
140 New Zealand wargamers.
Yeah. And then we went over for 3 weeks, initially thinking that we'd always spend 3 weeks putting figures into the diorama, but when we arrived, the diorama was, as you saw the first shot of Dave's diorama here, just no vegetation, just sand coloured.
And up to 5 foot tall, and sort of down to sort of ground level. So it's hard to stand on.
And it's 40 foot by 45 foot by 38 feet, so quite a bit bigger.
So that's in New Zealand. That's in New Zealand. Just over there.
Yeah. Not very far away.
So many projects coming up? Small scale or?
Not yet. No. Why, have you got one?
Heard of anything?
It's a very high standard.
Yes.
It would be good for the battles to.
I would.
Oh yes,
it would be great.
Museums rather than.
Oh yeah.
The sort of thing we have. I remember the old Baltimore Business actually.
Oh yeah.
Not very impressive.
Yeah.
If they came to us, I think we could probably talk them out.
But I do a lot of terrain for wargamers and dioramists. Yeah, that's my main bit. So keeps me busy.
Can I ask a sculpting question?
Yeah.
They're all fairly uniform. If you look around this room, there's lots of different heights.
Yes.
Is there a reason why you sort of keep it fairly uniform? You don't.
Mostly because people don't particularly like different heights. Generally you get
lots of war gamers don't. They like seeing water, but
generally you get complaints that they do end up being different heights, and if you keep them roughly the same, go a millimetre up.
They're always going to be slightly out each figure.
Unless there's particular character packs and things, which are you only going to use one or two. But I suppose if you've got the same figure in the same position, but he's 6 inches, he's a lot shorter than somebody else. You're always going to see him in the ranks. You say, "Oh, that's the short one. That's the short one again. That's the short one." So it's another reason keeping them.
And also add more to our work as well, because you want to make you'd have to make 2 figures, one slightly smaller than the other one, and or 3 slightly sort of different heights, but doing the same thing. It's a lot easier just to make one figure doing the same thing. Change the faces.
When you're making the original figures, you're able to make several different ones for the same pose in case they get damaged in the molds?
No, it's not for that. It's we like to, in a box of 6 figures, infantry figures. We normally have 6 in a box. If they're marching, you like to have a bit of variation, so not everybody's in the same pose. One knee forward, the other knee forward, or slightly different, slightly hunched. So you make perhaps 2 or 3 poses to go in that one box to check. New head, new set of arms.
But I know molds can sometimes get damaged. The original figures don't make a mold out.
No, they come back. The original greens quite often come back in pieces, arms ripped out, because as they're putting them out to the mold, the original master mold, they just rip. But sometimes they're okay.
After you've done that, you make a master mould, in metal, and then those metals go into the production mould, which is the same figures, a bigger mould.
Okay, I think is that it. You're welcome to come up and look at Dave's Exotica here.
Or later, I'll be around the diorama if you want to come and talk specifics.
Before we go, do I have our blocks back?
Oh yes, 3 blocks.
We're on eBay already, Dave. We're on eBay already.
Oh,
you thought you were going to get away with it?
I managed to catch up with Kirsty Rogers. Hello, Kirsty. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. How are you doing?
Oh, wow.
Good.
So, we're obviously here at the Royal Armouries event. How's it gone?
It's absolutely smashing. I've loved it. I was a bit nervous putting it on because obviously last event for the Waterloo, we only kind of dipped our toe in the water. Yeah. So this was the news was out there. We managed to get more games illustrated. I've been talking to you guys about it, so I wanted to make sure we delivered a really nice event. But it's been really good, and the talk with with David Marshal and the Perrys that we had today was really good. People seem to have a great time. Still people in there having a great time at the moment, and there's another day of it to come. So I'm really pleased, and it seems to be buzzing. So. Yeah, really, really positive feedback on it. I'm really pleased.
Fantastic. So, have you noticed a particular influx of customers based on, or people coming along based on the fact that they've actually initially come for the event?
Oh, definitely, which is what I hoped for. And what's great is we've obviously got wargamers coming in and playing the games that they know and they love and they want to do, but we've also got general public just wandering in and I've never tried this before and fancy it, and that's what we wanted as well. Yeah. And we've got loads of kids in today because one of our guys who's been holding the crafts today has got fantastic connections with local primary schools. So we've had some really lovely kids coming in and having a go as well. Mm-hmm. So it's been a fantastic atmosphere here, and definitely something that we'll be doing again. And very hopeful for.
Fantastic. Oh, so I suppose that's the next question. It's like, okay, so if it's been a success, I mean, I know we talked about the potential of the one happening on the First World War weekend. So is that now?
It's definitely happening. That one's definitely happening. Saturday, the 12th of November. It's marking the end of the Battle of the Somme.
Yeah.
That's definitely happening. So if anybody's interested in putting on a game, get in touch as always. We've got the room book and everything, so that is done. The question mark is still the Saga event over the summer.
Yeah.
We would love to do it, so we've just got to work things out from our end and see whether or not that's possible. Over the summer, activities get a little bit harder to put on because there's so much going on in the museum, both from our end and in terms of conferences and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we've just got to work out that, and obviously you guys will be the first to know as soon as that's happening, because that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's tying in with the Staffordshire Hall, the piece of the Staffordshire Hall coming, isn't it?
It is. Warrior Treasures is running from the 27th of May to the 2nd of October, and items of the Staffordshire Hoard will be coming here. So it'd be great to see some of your audience up here either way, because the exhibition's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
So it'll be really worth a visit.
Cool. And with you, just clarify, with you saying about the First World War weekend, is there a particular limit on the number of games you can potentially put on?
Well, it's in the room that you've just seen. It's in that room there, as it were, for you guys, the newsroom on the 4th floor. So it's just space, and we can always try and investigate using some of this picnic space that we're currently sat in at the moment. So if people want to do something absolutely huge, as long as they get in touch with us soon and we can see what we can do, we can try. We're very open to everything. We've just got to see whether or not we can do it, and whether or not, it ticks the boxes in terms of safety and all the rest of it. But we'd love to put something on really big and fun.
Sure, but basically, I mean, if you're looking around about like either 6x4 to 8x6, we can potentially win a dozen or so games.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we've got going on in there at the moment, so that's great. And I know Leeds Wargame Club have already got their eyes set on a Jutland game and a 30-foot table. So we'll see if that happens. I'd love it to happen, but we'll see what we can physically do, and we'll let you know. Believe me, if it's happening, you'll know.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Kirsty, it's been a great event, and really glad it's gone off well. And it's been a great day to come up, and finally get to see the Agincourt diorama.
Yes, absolutely. Superb. Oh, I'm so glad you got to see it.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Not at all.
Obviously, we'll chat to you really soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks very much.
Cheers. And now it's time to hear from you, as we open up the Meeples and Miniatures mailbag. Hello, and welcome to the mailbag. We haven't had one of these for a couple of shows, and so we thought we'd crack on with a question from
the Cake Meister,
bringer of cake, the Cake Meister, the bringer of chocolate.
Neil's cake supplier.
Yes, the bringer of chocolate, which I didn't get,
and elves.
And elves and pusher of other assorted
confectionery.
I was going to say figures actually.
Well, that as well.
Because this is a man you will find. Yes, whenever there is a tabletop sale at a show, you'll probably find this man manning a table for an hour at some point somewhere in the day. We are, of course, talking about a very good friend of the show, Mervyn Douglas. Hi, Merv.
You only say that because he gives you cake.
And chocolate. No, he doesn't give me chocolate.
He doesn't give me chocolate. Which is actually probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's because you ate the whole cake. Didn't even give Dave a slice.
You notice we haven't actually forgiven you for that yet.
No.
I didn't notice. I didn't know it was sliced.
At least not until you opened it.
Yeah, at home. I didn't know.
Tell it to the judge.
Yeah.
And besides, Dave doesn't eat cake. Do you, Dave?
Don't I?
Doesn't get a chance.
So obviously I don't in this case.
So I always thought he didn't eat cake. It's too unhealthy.
Oh, yeah. I'm a changed man these days.
He sent us an email. Well, actually, he sent us a book.
Thinly disguised as an email.
Thinly disguised as an email. And it subsequently went down to, he said, bear with it, there was a question in there somewhere, and we eventually got to it.
So here's the Reader's Digest condensed version.
Indeed. Okay. Are you sitting comfortably? I shall begin. My gaming / purchases, etc., is now entirely driven by available rules. If there isn't a set of rules for them, then the figures won't get bought, painted, or used. That might seem obvious, but when I look at all the really nice figures produced by, for example, the Perrys, what rules are people using for example, Agincourt? I can't believe it's any of the dreary old DBM fog impetus stuff. Please note that's Mervin's words.
Which we completely agree with.
Unless you're doing something like show displays on a 16-foot by 5-foot table, would you use 28mm figures anyway? How many of us have the space to put out that lot, let alone store it all? Simon Miller.
Yeah.
Sorry. However, the question I'm really asking you all is what comes first for you? Nice, shiny figures that you get and then try to find a rule set for. Other than that, then not be able to use them? Or do you only get the figures when you already know what rules you will use them for? Discuss.
We could be really nasty and just give a one-word answer each.
Be a bit monosyllabic.
That's easy. Me, yes. Hobbsy?
What? What comes first? Yes.
That's yes as he hands over his credit card. It's irrelevant whether it's rules.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, take my money from me. That's what Mike's saying.
Open my wallet and help yourself.
Yes. Shut up and take my money. I don't know.
Here's my PayPal account password. Help yourself.
I'm a bit of both. I really sometimes if I see a box set that's got some really nice figures in it and the rules, then I'll buy that. I've done that with loads of times this part and other stuff. But sometimes, yeah, I will just wait and if I see figures, think, oh, that's nice, a nice period. And then I'll wait and I probably don't go and consciously try and hunt down a set of rules, but sometimes I'll see a set of figures and think they're nice, I want to use them. And then sometime in the future, I'll find a set of rules and think, oh, for example, what's just happened now, Great Northern War. I've tried to do Great Northern War 3 times and failed. You know, because the figures are beautiful. I really want to do it. I'm really interested in the period. I tried doing it with Beneath the Lily Banners. Didn't like the rules that much. Tried it in 6mm with Polymos. Couldn't get on with the rules. I just didn't paint the figures. It's just too much. And then practice.
So what you're telling me is that you actually have 2 6mm Great Northern War armies?
No, I got rid of them. I gave them to a mate.
Okay.
But now, you know, the stars have, you know, come into alignment and I've got a set of rules which I really like, which is preempting me to go and dig out these old figures and order a whole lot of new ones.
Did you not try it with Donnybrook?
Well, actually, the figures I bought I bought them for Donnybrook, and I thought I'd do like a little imaginations thing.
Oh, okay.
But I just never got around to it. It's weird. I'm very flighty, so I can't turn around and say I do want to.
Your other option would have been Shot, Steel, and Stone.
Yeah, but it's another big battle game, you know, and I didn't want to do a big battle game. It's really weird. I like the period, like, you know, for Great Northern War, I like the period, I like the figures, you know, interest in the history. I just knew I would never commit to doing a big battle game, not in 28mm of those figures. But a small skirmish game, was doable. It's weird, you know. I've recently bought a load of 15mm stuff because I had Sword and Spear. Likewise, I had a Sword and Spear, which allowed me to dig out my old War Master stuff, which then allowed me to go and get some more figures. You know, what I'm trying to say is, it's neither and it's both, and it's all. Sometimes the rules drag me into a period. Sometimes the figures will get me to think about old rules that I've had floating around. Sometimes I just buy stuff on impulse. There's no saving me, really.
Whereas me, I'm a reformed man. I'll have you know. Now, back in the day. And Dave well, I think anybody who knows me will vouch for this. I used to buy figures at the drop of the hat. It really,
shiny.
It really was. It was like, oh.
What are you going to use them for, Neil? Don't know. I'll find out something.
Yeah, exactly. And he was okay. Oh, all like them, all like these. And I accumulated so much stuff.
The roof was sagging.
And that is actually true. I had to move it out the loft. Because I looked at the ceiling one thing and I went, that's interesting. I'm sure it shouldn't be that shape. Yes.
That's a proper lead mounting, that is.
Anyway, and throughout this time, you know, some people have a little voice. Maybe one, maybe two, that sits on either shoulder, that whisper things in their ear. I'd just like to say, mine's about 6'4". He's a bit bigger than me. And he constantly keeps going on saying, what are you bought that for? Why are you going to play that then? When are you ever going to paint that? Actually, I don't do it as good as you, Dave. Go on. Do an impression of yourself.
Do an impression of myself.
How long have you been going on at me, Dave? How long? Go on.
Well, I can't actually lay total claim to all this because it was a bit of a thought mindset that actually Pete Manning from down our old Coventry club that said to me one night when he was like buying lots and lots of. He's a big board game type, and he was
big GMT games
man. Yeah, he is. And he said to me about the games that he was buying, and I noticed he hadn't bought so many at that period when I'd gone round to see him. And he said, "Well, the problem is, he says, if I buy another game, it's all very well and good, but all I'm doing is diluting my collection." And I said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And he says, "Well, there's games I enjoy playing. If I buy new stuff, I just won't be playing the stuff I already enjoy." And I sort of went away with that and sort of, you know, let things develop in my mind, really. And I thought, well, yeah, that's probably right. If you get a few good games that you like, why do you want to replace them with something new?
Because it's new.
Yeah, cult of the new, Mr. Hobbs.
We do work in an industry where, you know, our jobs is to try new things.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. Trying new things.
Our job is to try new things. I didn't mean to do it. I only bought it as a review.
That's the defence to Mrs. Hobbs, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, but it doesn't work.
But in all seriousness, though, let's take as an example. Last week down the club, we had Frostgrave. We had, I think, every single game being played, with the exception of Bolt Action, was not being played a year ago, and all involved people buying new figures and new forces for that rule set, with the exception, it has to be said, of Kings of War, which does appear to be a large quantity of opportunist reusing of old figures with new forces. And if you go back another year, you know, last year it would have been War Machine. 2 years ago, it would have been Judge Dredd. 3 years ago, it would have been 40k. 4 years ago, it would have been Flames of War.
I think the thing is, it's an evolutionary thing, isn't it? And what I'm saying is, if you enjoy a game, then why replace it with something else? So, like at the moment, it's like Chain of Command for me, and I think for Neil for World War II. Now, I can't see me replacing it with anything at the moment else but that. But having said that, if it does get replaced, it shouldn't be too much of a problem because we've got a lot of the figures already now.
Yeah. I mean, there is a certain thing. As I say, I used to buy everything going, and I used to be. I think I was a games company's dream. Yes, that's
when you were on first. When you were on first time terms with certain people, when you used to ring up certain large game shop.
First time.
I recognised everybody at Games Workshop mail order by voice, and they all knew me, and I knew them. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's step away from that one. Yes. So, however, and having gamed a lot with Captain Sensible, to be fair, Dave talks a fair amount of sense on the odd occasion. That
is, after all, why we have him on the podcast, because he's the voice of reason.
Credit where it's due. And the one's got to right. He's got a point. And to say, when I had my, I don't know if you refer it to the epic clear out or what have you, but, as people will be aware, I've had a massive clear out in my, model and board game, especially board game collection. I've sold something like 70-80% of my board games.
I bought some of them.
You did. And again, I would say a huge clear out. I mean, a huge clear out in models was turning around and going, right, okay, will I ever play this? Will I ever have the possibility of playing this? And I mean, there are still some things where I kind of went, I'm sorry, I can't possibly part with that. My Vaser army for my core, for example. I've been wanting that for the longest time and actually found one on eBay. And it's some of Kev White's earliest figures, and there was some absolutely gorgeous stuff in there. And it's like, yeah, I'm buying that, But 28mm sci-fi. I know I will. You can hear the voice of desperation. I will get to play 28mm sci-fi at some point.
Yeah, I mean that's why I own the Dead Zone Kickstarter.
Yes.
Nothing to do with wanting to play Dead Zone. Sorry, Jake. And everything to do with the fact that I'm sure that at some point somebody will come out with a decent sci-fi variant on Chain of Command for which they will work really very well.
And actually, to be fair, I mean, one of the reasons why I went to Dead Zone was I actually really liked what they'd done with, like, okay, everything, in squares and various little bits and pieces, as opposed to, I'm sorry, he's quarter of an inch out of range or what have you. So I kind of like the simpler concept. But yeah, it is this thing, right? Okay, my outlook has changed completely. And now it is very much a case of, okay, what are you going to play it with? Now, if it's a case of a new rule set comes out and I already have the figures for it, I suppose the classic, one of the classic examples is something like, I don't know, Blood Eagle, for example. Blood Eagle, the new...
Sword Spear.
Yeah. Sword and Spear. Yeah, Sword and Spear, because we already had, well, correction, Dave already had the armies based and painted.
Wait, time out. Dave owns an army?
Dave owns several armies.
Dave owns several painted armies.
But he owns fewer than the rest of us.
Well, yeah, probably so. Well, I don't know.
No, more than Neil. Dave, come on. Okay. There's a challenge, Dave. What armies do you own, and what's painted? Come on.
Right, Peninsular War, 6mm, large, British, French.
How large is your large French army? Are you sure it's large?
Well, it's fairly large.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know your British army is huge. But I didn't know your French army was that big. But
probably as big. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What else have I got? They got the Romans in 6mm. That's a massive army, isn't it?
That's quite big, yeah.
Yeah, the Celts. Was it ancient Brits? The Celts. I think same thing really, but ones with chariots anyway. Yeah, I mean they were. That was death by irregular forces. That was. Yeah, so I mean that's quite a big army, isn't it? These are my days when I used to do massive armies. Then what else have I got after that? I've got a sci-fi army.
Well, you say massive armies. I mean, you're probably talking about 25 bases.
25. No, I think there's more than that. I think there's about 35 bases.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, which in 6mm can be quite big. I mean, I know it's not the biggest, but for a general sort of club play and at-home play, it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
More than you're ever going to really use in a game because it's just all the different variants. What else have I got? I've got the sci-fi army, haven't I? I've got Command Horizon sci-fi army, which was actually one of my favourite little armies, actually. And
it's a sci-fi army, Dave. You own a sci-fi army.
Yeah, I own a sci-fi army. It was quite a nice game, isn't it? Well, it was. This is the old set of rules.
The old one, yeah.
Before it got changed and it's moved over, hasn't it? To is it?
War Games
Emporium? Games Emporium, yeah, in Sheffield. Yeah, they've got it now. Yeah. And then after that, it's skirmish stuff, isn't it? I've got all my British powers, and then I've got a Viking army, haven't I? And then I've got my gladiators as well, haven't I?
You got a Viking army for Saga, which is what 7 points.
I think I've got. Yeah, what was it? Was it 8 points? Isn't it? Is it 8 points for what's? I can't remember what the large army is in Saga. I've got every variant for that anyway, haven't I?
Yeah.
And then of course I've got the Exilis army, haven't I? Oh dear, a big Exilis army.
Big Exilis army, yes, big Exilis.
Big Exilis
talk you into that one.
Painted. Mr. Shuck.
Yeah,
it was a very good game, to be honest.
It was the future.
That one definitely a case of rules first, though.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, but unfortunately, that's gone by the wayside like the dodo.
Yeah, completely did. You got about 30 odd gladiators. Unpainted, you've got
bit of 6mm,
Irish Saga army,
and an Irish Saga army, bit of 6mm and of different bits, and really they're spares and things like that. And yeah.
US powers,
they're 3/4 painted. Yeah.
British infantry.
British infantry.
Command.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's all he's got, you see. I mean, but having said that, he hasn't got nothing. He's got a few.
Yeah, I've got quite a few. I've got what I use at the moment. I mean, the thing is, I came to the hobby when I first met you, Neil, which was 9 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. Yeah. And I had absolutely nothing at that point, did I?
No.
No. I mean, I used to war game as a kid, as I think most of us did. With Airfix models and what have you. And I'd packed up one hobby, and it was time to start another one.
Yes.
And probably for about the first 2 years, actually, I was probably a massive board gamer more than anything else, wasn't I?
Yes, I think we were. Yeah. Yes. So, yeah.
Oh, don't forget my Blood Bowl army as well.
Oh, custom made Blood Bowl.
Yeah, yes. Team. Orcs. Yeah.
Yes. Very nice they were. Very nice they were. Shame about the game, but there we go.
So, Mike, before Neil makes us recant what armies we've got, what's your take on the question?
I'm so not going there. I think these days I'm much more rules first. Certainly, I think even when I restarted in the hobby, the first thing I really got involved in was playing WAB, so I wanted a WAB army. And I think it was very much a case of, right, what do I need to be able to take part in this because it happens at the club? And I think what's happened since then is I've fallen in love with assorted rule sets and, where possible, either faffed around with existing armies to fit Age of Arthur, WAB Age of Arthur Saxons are now my Duxbridge force, having had a brief period of time as my Saga force. And similarly for my some of my World War II stuff, which started off as Operation Squad, never made it to bolt action and went straight to chain of command. But other than that, I think I do tend to pick. I think it's more pick period, pick rules, pick forces. Will be the order it happens in.
Yeah, I'd say that's the same as me, mate.
It's I want to play Napoleonic. I've always wanted to play Napoleonics. I still actually don't have a painted Napoleonic force of any sort. Plenty of them painted, but and the two for sharp practice too. We have Gary down at the club who has insane quantities of stuff based for bolt action, so that's never actually been a problem playing it. I still have a whole bunch of Napoleon at War stuff, which I am going to get painted or get painted, and I have 28s for sharp practice. And I think the same is true of sci-fi. And World War II. I decided very early on, in fact, it's entirely Neil's fault that I wanted to do World War II company level using I Have Been Shotman.
Yeah, blame Neil.
Yeah. That was absolutely Neil's fault.
Yes.
Unquestionably.
Yes.
And I now actually have probably 4, I think, painted I Have Been Shotman forces. And 2 more ready to be painted. But it has tended to be, I want to play World War II Napoleonics. That looks like a decent rule set. Let's get some figures for it.
Yeah. It is quite interesting because I'm thinking about listening to you guys talk. There is a definite split in how I buy figures. So for sci-fi and fantasy, I tend to go for the all-in-one package, where the A firm will do matching figures for matching rules.
There is a reason for that. And I think we've discussed it before.
Yeah, most of them do it, but there is still quite a lot of producers of sci-fi and fantasy stuff that aren't tied to any rule system. But I am drawn to, box games, but only in sci-fi and fantasy.
As I think we've said in the past, there's this massive distinction between something like World War II, where you know what the setting is,
yes,
or anything historical, and sci-fi, where you either wind up being one of those, and I'm not dissing you guys here, one of those generic 15mm sci-fi gamers, which you do see quite a lot of, or you nail your colours to a particular setting, be it whatever, and there are very few of those settings which do not come with a set of rules.
Yeah, but when it comes to historical, I'm probably like you, Mike. I will pick periods that I'm interested in, and then the rules will change over a period of time, but the figures will get used for different rules. So like my 15mm stuff started off because we were playing Flames of War, and I rapidly got very sick of Flames of War, just in time for the battle group rules to come out, and then I Have Been Shotman. So suddenly I've got 15mm armies that I'm using for those. My 20mm armies I bought specifically for Battlefront World War II, which is a different set of rules, which I'm now using for Chain of Command. 28mm I bought specifically for Chain of Command. Sometimes it's cart before horse. Sometimes it's if you're interested in a period.
Sometimes it's I have these horses. How many carts can I hang off the back?
Yeah. No, that's it. I mean, whereas I think David and Neil, you would go like, okay, I'm playing 15mm. I got a 15mm force, so I can play Chain of Command, I Ain't Been Shotman, Battle Group, all using the same figures. I tend to go down the route of what figures work best for these, and I'll go and buy the figures. Or if I've got some there already, I'll just extend them. But some my 20mm figures, 15, 20 years old, and they still get used.
Well, the conception of how Neil and I probably think and talk about what we're going to do next and how we're going to do it, has actually probably partly come as well, Mike, from what you said once, which was, what terrain have you got?
That is another one.
So actually that's probably influenced us. That influenced us initially with Chain of Command, and ever since then that has sort of always been in the background of our thoughts now. It's just sort of become part of what we discuss and think about when we're looking at a new period or a new project.
Yeah.
That is a very valid question, a point as well, Dave, because a lot of time I don't buy into a game because I haven't got terrain.
Because that's a big outlay, isn't it? At the end of the day, whether that be money or both, with time and effort as well,
and space.
And space, which is something that we always consider, isn't it? Considering that I need an extension now for my GamesWorks War Games room.
Because it's full of scenery.
Can I justify 20 odd grand, guys, for an extension?
Yeah, just put on expenses, mate.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, no worries. Meeples Bunker Mark II.
The fallout.
I've come down very much from the just buying anything that appealed. Very much to the case of, right, okay, well, first and foremost, am I going to play it? Is it something that is likely to get played? Which obviously then boils down to, okay, well, what do we play at the moment? And what are our favourite rules in whatever period? Okay, so obviously, is it a period or genre we are likely to play? Then, what are the rules? Yeah, what are the rules like? And are they as good as what we're currently playing? And then, have we got an army for it?
Here's a question for you then. If you are, and this is specifically historical, because I don't think it really applies to sci-fi or fantasy. If you've got an army and you've got, like you just said there, you've got games that you like, would you go out and just buy a set of rules on spec just to see if they're any good? Thinking of it as just, it's only a couple of quid, 20 quid for a set of rules. I'll buy them, I'll have a read and see if they're any good. I've got figures already.
Probably not anymore.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
I probably would because I love rules.
I tend to for inspiration as much as anything.
I'm the same. I will buy rules as a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
If it's a period I'm interested in.
Yeah. And usually I will come along and say, "Oh, look at these! Aren't these interesting?" And get the look. walk in the bunker and get the look from Mr. Luff. What are you bought them for? Well, but yeah, we play. Yeah, but look at these. These are really interesting. Yeah, but we play. But we play that using these. Are they better? I don't know. Yeah, I've got to have a look. Well, why? I think one of the things is as well is that being at clubs in the past, you see certain things happen, and you see the other thing is you see is that you see perhaps the search for the perfect rule set.
Yeah.
And actually,
the Holy Grail, isn't it?
Yes, it seems like the Holy Grail is to find the perfect rule set for whatever period or genre you're trying to find. And it always seems that the perfect rule set is, it's never the one you're playing. It's always the one that's about to be released. And if ever that is a way to be dissatisfied with gaming, I like these. Yeah, I really like these rules, except for A, B, C, and D. I don't like. I don't like the way they do skirmishes. Is
Auxilia?
Stop it. I don't like the way this does A, B, and C. I must admit, I am not one really for house ruling. House ruling actually really winds me up. I know loads and loads and loads of people do it. And where it's like someone's written a rule set, it's kind of, oh yeah, I don't agree with that bit, so we'll house rule that. No, I can't be doing with it. It really winds me up.
It's okay if, and pretty much only if, you only ever play with a very small and select group of people, all of whom like your house rules. My problem is playing down a large club. I don't want to house rule stuff. But there is a converse one that winds me up even more, which is the people who say, well, I can't play it because I don't like the scenarios.
Hey?
Yeah. Never heard that one.
I have.
Have you?
I'd like to play that, but the scenarios are rubbish. The ones I prefer the rules in X, but the scenarios in Y are better. Let me give you a clue here. A little bit of courage, a little bit of stepping out of your comfort zone, and a little bit of rewriting the scenarios from Y to work with X will make you a very happy person. End run.
I have been a member of a club which had sets of rules that they played, and they only played those sets of rules. And I always thought that was odd.
I many years ago, when I was first looking for a war games club back in the day.
I know what one's coming here.
You know what's coming here. Where I attended a club of a club that shall remain nameless because I believe it has changed. The board has changed and it has changed its outlook since. But when I turned up on the night, I showed around and what have you, and then there was and basically, and it was almost stated, it's like, oh, what are those guys doing? They're the Warhammer players. Yeah, not quite sure about that. There's these two games off in the corner, doing something different, and everybody else was playing DBM.
All with non-matching.
How did I guess?
Yeah.
And basically, and the chat went along the line of, of course, when you come along, I said, what do you play? I play a bit of this and a bit of that, and a bit of the other. I said, what if you want to come here? Those guys in the corner do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But really, obviously, when you come along, you want to play a proper war game. So, we'll teach you how DBM works, and you can get an army, and then, and you get into a proper game.
I have a pretty much exact. That happened to me when I was living in Oxford when I was 22, 23, and I was, I fancied doing a little bit of wargaming. I hadn't really done it before, and I went into a club, and literally they went, "Well, we play this for World War II, we play this for Napoleon, we play this for Ancients," and that's the only 3 games. And I went, "Well, I fancy playing, some sort of fantasy stuff or playing this." They went, "No, we play proper war games, and this is the basing standard, and here's the file with all the amendments that we've made to the rules to make them work." So yeah, I didn't go back there. Even that young age, I was just like, "You pompous old dicks."
The thing is, we laugh, but I think most of us kind of know of, or have been there and done it, or had it, or had it done. As you say, it's one of those things of nowadays. There is so much around,
so many rule sets, so little time.
And as I say, my epiphany, and I'll call it epiphany. I'll call it an epiphany because before then, I really did buy everything. Is that, and Dave will swear to this exactly to me. I said, Neil, when are you going to realise that you can't play everything? I think it was actually.
Wait. You can't what?
Sorry, I don't understand that.
I'm so I'm not following that.
No.
You see, but you see,
to be fair, I have just sold about 6 boxes of plastic figures.
Yeah. But that was, I mean, Dave will vouch, that was a conversation we actually had in the car, wasn't it, on the way to War Games Club one night?
Yeah, it's like the best will in the world. There's loads of stuff that I'd love to do, but unfortunately there's things like having a shave and having a shower and going to college and soon going to work that sort of get in the way, isn't there? And eating and things like that. There's a lot more things I'd probably do
and of course the annoying thing is that going to work thing is what pays for the rest.
Well, this is it. And if all I did was game and I was a man of leisure, then I'm sure there'd be a lot more things that I would do. But, we've got to all live in reality, haven't we? Unfortunately.
Mm. Yes. So, have we answered the question?
The answer is we all do it differently, and it depends on what we feel at the time. Apart from Dave.
Yeah, apart from me.
Because you're the sensible one.
Some sensible one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me,
Oh.
it's got to be the rule set first, really. There's periods that I'm interested in, and I'm aware of them, and I'm always keeping my eyes open and ears open to comments that other people have said actually before I actually buy a set of rules. I'll never buy a set of rules on spec. It's normally because someone's said, have a look at this, Dave, or whatever, normally, and then the figures come afterwards. As we all know, it's just a counter.
Yeah. And normally it's a case of if the person who says, "Oh, have a look at this, Dave," is me, he'll normally kind of go, "Oh, hang on, I'll wait and get recommendations from somebody else first."
Well, I don't know. Maybe your comments are taking a little bit more weight these days, as you are now the new reformed Neil Shuck, where doesn't pick up on everything that's shiny.
I'm getting more street kid now. Now I'm becoming more sensible.
Yeah, more sensible. That's right.
I can't wait till Neil falls off the wagon.
In fact, probably the one that's falling off the wagon of late actually was probably me actually at Salute.
What, buying a laser pointer?
Well, I bought a laser pointer.
You maniac, you.
Well, it wasn't just that. It wasn't the buying so much, but I felt it was like, oh no, things are, it's like, ooh, what about this, Neil? Ooh, what about that, Neil? Ooh, look at that, Neil. And I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. Oh, I'm slipping here. I'm slipping.
One nervous.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, I started asking because it hasn't. I mean, it's been on my radar, but I don't know very little about it, which was Frostgrave. And I started looking at that, didn't
Fantasy. Yeah. I've even lent in the rulebook. Have you read it?
Yeah, I've had a brief look amongst doing 3 exams and another one tomorrow.
Another one tomorrow? Good grief, it's way past your bedtime, mate.
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
right, mate. No, yeah, I've got 2 more exams to do, and then. Yeah.
This is why we're not gaming, you see. Exams. Oh.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'll let you off.
So.
There you have it.
Yes.
Indeed. So, yeah, thanks.
Do we get a piece of cake for that?
I hope so. I think we talked long enough for it.
I've just eaten one.
As I say, if cake was based on number of words generated for a question, we'd do a huge cake for that one, Mervyn. But thank you it's a really interesting question. Thank you.
It's just a shame we didn't answer it in any coherent manner.
Indeed.
Do we ever?
Well, no, but and again, we'd love to hear from you. What do you find important? What's how do you regulate your hobby? What is the best thing?
Wife. Wife. That's what you regulates it. Significant other. How much you spent on the credit card this month?
Indeed.
But you know the kids need shoes.
Yes. I'd have bought a 28mm French force for sharp practice, but my wife wrote a car off. Anyway, okay, so I think on that note we'll probably bring the mailbox, and probably actually the mailbox. We'll bring the mailbag and actually this show. I think
to a shuddering halt.
To a shuddering halt, indeed. Yes, because we've, as per usual, we took around the start and went, oh, yeah, this won't be a very long show. Okay.
Anybody want a sweepstake? I'm reckoning about 3 hours 15 after editing.
I'm thinking near 3:30, mate. There we go. He's fallen asleep.
I don't make bets anymore.
Oh, there's only one bet. 5,001. 5,001. Yeah. Sorry, I had to get that in there just at the end.
And you're not even a Leicester City supporter.
It's very true, but, I am from Leicester, and at the moment, actually, it's...
No, you're not. You're the Brummie that everyone kicks.
Okay, so you're from Leicester. I only live in Leicester. Is living in Leicester not good? Is living in Leicester not good enough these days?
No, you're just a mere interloper. You are.
Well, I've been here 20 years.
That doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I'm the Leicester lad, born and bred.
Oh, okay then. Well, yeah, and you don't even support the Foxes either.
Well, that's not quite true, but it sort of is. I mean, I'm a rugby man myself, but yeah. I have been known to go to a few games at the City.
On that note, yes. let's bug up before we start talking cricket. Yeah.
I was more suggesting before I start bringing up German wide receivers, but never mind.
Yes, indeed. Yes, but that
later.
Yes, that really is a subject for another day, and perhaps a different type of podcast entirely.
We should do. Oh, we haven't got time. No, we're not doing an NFL podcast. We don't have time.
We don't have time.
What's that sport you're talking about?
Don't go there. Moving swiftly on, please.
Indeed. So, all that's left to be said is thank you very much for listening. We would love to hear from you. Listen out to the end of the podcast for ways that you can contact us, either on social media or by email, or comment on the blog post that this episode appears in. Love to hear you. Love to hear your feedback. In the meantime, just want to say thank you to my podcast partners in crime for turning up. Thank you to Captain Sensible, the voice of reason as always.
Thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you to Mr. Whitaker.
You're welcome.
And thank you, of course, to the Welsh Wizard for blessing us once again with his almighty presence.
Thank you. I was trying to think of something witty to say then.
Don't look into his eyes, you'll cast a spell.
Not around the eyes.
Yeah. Buy more figures. You need more figures.
Buy more figures. And remember the health warning.
Indeed.
Sorry, wealth warning.
Well, wealth warning, yeah, definitely. Okay, so until next time, happy gaming, take care, and we'll speak to you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, why not share it with others by leaving us a review on iTunes? And if you have any comments or questions, you can always email the show. The address is info@meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. And you can also visit our webpage, where you'll find a complete episode archive, all the View from the Veranda podcasts, rules reviews, and our blog of hobby items and news, which is updated several times a week. This is also where you'll find the links to our presence on social media, and here you can follow us on Twitter or join our Facebook group. And finally, here you can also find details should you wish to support us by making a donation to the podcast. All this on the Meeples and Miniatures website, www.meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 3.0 Unported license. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.